What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? Hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Thank you guys for being here. And today we have to talk about President Trump's response to the vaccine passport. If you guys don't know, a vaccine passport went from kooky conspiracy theory into reality in just a year or two. In New York City, they're doing the keys to New York, aka you need a vaccination to go indoors. In Los Angeles, they're starting to kick people out of restaurants if you don't have a vaccine passport or proof of vaccination for COVID-19. So naturally, we've been waiting for one of the most popular, if not the most popular person on the planet, President Donald Trump or former President Donald Trump, whoever you ask. And, nobody's really asked him the question in a while. He's taken a lot of interviews, Dan Bongino, et cetera, et cetera. And I've been waiting for somebody to ask him this question. And Maria Bartiromo, did I pronounce that right? Finally asked him, and his response is horrifying. It's worse than his other interviews and what I thought. And if you don't believe me, I'm just going to wait like 10, 20 seconds for everybody to get in. And then I'm going to play it. I don't want everybody to miss it. And while people are coming in, thank you guys for being here. I'm about to play the clip. I'm going to sit back 2.5 minutes and let you listen to President Trump for himself. No interruption. I've been taking a lot of heat over the last year. People are calling me a shill on, I don't really care, but in general, like Instagram, they're trying to say I'm like a shill because I'm just showing people pharmacy lobbying money. Like, I don't care if it's Trump, Biden. I'm not going into people's personal stuff, but if you're a politician, your financial like lobbying money is public. It's literally like public information. And Trump in his inauguration took $1 million from Pfizer. Joe Biden took like $8 million from the pharmacy industry. Trump took a couple million. So I've been just posting about that and being like, hey, both parties are kind of taking big pharma lobbying money. This is not some crazy thing I'm making up. And I'm getting attacked because people that like Trump don't want to hear this. They're like, no. And I'm like, can I not just report lobbying money? Geez. But anyway, enough people are here. We got 3,000 people on Facebook. We got 438 on YouTube. I'm going to play the clip. Don't listen to me. This is Trump on Maria Bartiromo. She asked him the great question, what does he think about vaccine passports? And he went on for 2 minutes to brag about his vaccine, pretty much say he doesn't care at all. He didn't even mention it. And he thinks that if he was president, people would be getting vaccinated more. He blamed Joe Biden for the lack of vaccination. This is like beyond my wildest dreams, even though I've been critical of Trump. Here, take a listen.
If we're going to be living in fear until the midterm elections so that mail-in ballots can be the standard, I want to get your take on needing proof to go into restaurants, needing proof of a vaccine to go into certain stores. Your thoughts on where we are with these new mask mandates coming back. And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend a third shot for the fully vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back. Everybody wanted to get it, and we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking, and he's now president, and he's doing a lousy job with coronavirus. Coronavirus is back. If that ever happened to me where it came back, okay, when I left, it was virtually gone. It was over. It was a fad. Now it's coming back through the Delta, and I don't know if you even want to call it that. All you call it is the China virus is back. And so why is he doing a good job? He did a bad job with SARS, the H1N1, very bad job, a joke of a job, a horrible job. All of a sudden they said, oh, he's doing so well. I'm the one that did well. I'm the one that got all the equipment. I'm the one that got the vaccine. I'm the one that did well. If it came back, can you imagine if I were president and it came back at a level where it's just as bad right now in some cases? The press would...
All right, real quick, guys. I understand everybody likes to talk, right? I like to talk. You like to talk. You love to jump to his defense. For 2 minutes, all I ask is just close your mouth, stop typing your fingers, and listen to what he's saying. She asked him, what do you think about vaccine passports to go into a restaurant? He didn't say a single thing. He said the protesters were the problem. He said if he was president, there would be no protesters. He didn't say I'm on the side of the protesters. He didn't say this is authoritarian. He didn't say this is psychotic. He didn't say he was against it. He said if you're protesting the vaccine passport, you're the problem. If he was president, there would be no protesters. Everybody would get in line with the jab. If you keep making excuses for this man, you are complicit. You are complicit. You have to stop being a PR team for tyranny. You have to stop being an excuse maker. This is red alert, okay? This is an emergency broadcast. The leader of the free world, the guy who has billions of people, freedom fighters, conservatives, libertarians, real liberals, patriots around the planet, Australia, here, UK. He's the figurehead for freedom in the world. And he's been silent on this issue for a year. And when he finally got asked it, not only did he not say he was against it, he went on this big rampage saying that basically the people who didn't get vaccinated would be vaccinated if he was president, and that there would be no protesters if he's president. If you don't think that's a problem, you have a problem, okay? And maybe I'll make a P.O. box so people can apologize to me, okay? When I call him Grandpa Moderna, I'm completely right. He sounds like a grandpa used car salesman. Me. He's such an egomaniac. He doesn't care about you. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. I want you to listen again and really, stop the fingers for 2 seconds. Please continue typing. I know you guys aren't going to listen to me. It's like, who am I to tell you what to do? But for the moms that want to just say, oh, well, he didn't mandate, listen again. This is the figurehead for the spirit Americana around the world. They're looking to this guy for leadership. And she says, what do you think about vaccine passports? He says nothing against it. He says nothing for the teachers, nothing for the workers, nothing for the militaries. In fact, he does the opposite. He takes the big pharma stance and says, if I was president, there would be no protesters. Everybody would have got the shot. Are you guys not paying attention? Come on, folks. Let's listen again. I'll do this all day. I really will.
Vaccine to go into certain stores. Your thoughts on where we are with these new mask mandates coming back. And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend a third shot for the fully vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million.
All right, keep in mind real quick. I'm just going to pause it on this time. Keep in mind the question wasn't Donald Trump, give me your used car salesman vaccine sales pitch for the 50,000th time. That wasn't the question she asked. She didn't say, Donald Trump, please sound like you have a 1984 Mazda with 200,000 miles on it and you're trying to sell a lemon. She asked him, Donald Trump, what do you think about showing a vaccine passport to get into a restaurant? And he blabbers bragging about the vaccine for over a minute. And then he says this. Take a listen, folks. Please listen.
But like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration.
All right. So now he's trying to say, if you don't take this vaccine, it's because you don't trust Joe Biden. Hey, Donald Trump, I know you could fool your minions. I know you could fool people who voted for you. I know a lot of people will tune you out because they love you. I loved you too. I voted for you. I went to your rally, etc. You're not fooling me. The reason I didn't take it is not because Joe Biden's president. It's because I'm a sovereign individual. I did the research. I understand how the liability works. I'm closely studying the efficacy and the data. The same data that you lied about out of Sweden and tried to fearmonger everybody in Sweden. I've been following the data. It's a scientific, educated health decision. Has nothing to do with Joe Biden being in the White House. He is such a used car salesman, Grandpa Moderna, the great vaccine salesman. And I just want to say this, okay? Not that I care, because people have been lying about me my whole life. It's nothing new to me. It fuels me. I fuel off of being underrated. But anyway, I got these accounts that are obsessed with Trump that say Anomaly's a shill because he's posting pharmacy lobbying money. Just think about that for a second. I'm bipartisan with it. Of course, I kind of highlight Trump because he's a big deal, but pharmacy lobbying money is a problem. I'm not allowed to talk about pharmacy lobbying money. Bernie Sanders is taking pharma money. Trump is taking pharma money. Biden's taking pharma money. Warsaw, they're all taking pharma money. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's like both parties are controlled by big pharma. Both parties are selling the jab. And I'm just asking the question as a citizen who actually votes Republican and voted for Trump. My question is, did he turn into a vaccine skeptic, into a vaccine salesman? Did that happen naturally? Did he learn new science about mRNA jabs and become really into it? Maybe. Maybe. But he also took $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration. He also took or $2.5 million from pharma, according to Open Secrets. So he said, I'm so rich, I don't need your money. Yet he has no problem taking money from Pfizer, doing deals with Moderna, and taking pharmacy lobbying money. So I'm just asking the question, because the Trump that I voted for, or that I thought I was going to vote for, wasn't like a big vaccine salesman. That's not what he did his first 3 years. That's a new thing. So he's trying to tell his base that you're not getting it because of Joe Biden. Listen to the rest, because it gets worse. Please listen, folks.
Same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine.
He said, when I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. Maria Bartiromo, or however you say her name, Bartholomew, Simpson. No, I'm just kidding. Maria asked him, what do you think of vaccine passports? The military are being forced vaccinated, restaurants in New York City, cruise members, airline members. I mean, this is a big deal, Donald Trump. If you want to be Mr. Americana Pulse on the people, you got to talk about the biggest issue in the world, forced vaccination, and in America. That's the question she asked you. He not only didn't say he was on the side of the protesters. I'm glad people are out there protesting for their freedom. He said, if I was president, there would be no protesters. He doesn't like you. At what point are you going to realize it's all about him? Me. I take the big pharma money. I'm Donald Trump. I take the Pfizer money. I'm Donald Trump. I rushed the vaccine. I'm Donald Trump. I strong-armed Fauci, and I did more for big pharma than Fauci did. I'm Donald Trump. I need credit. It's me. I did the ventilators, even though they were garbage. I did the mass testing. I funded it. Me. He's like the Grinch of medical tyranny. He wants the credit. Give him credit. You guys won't give him credit. Give the guy what he wants. I'm giving him what he wants. You're like, no, he didn't do it. He's telling you, I did it. Me. He doesn't care about you. If you're out protesting because you're a nurse on the front lines getting forced vaccinated, Donald Trump didn't say, I'm on your side. He said, if you're a nurse, I think you should take it. But he also said, if I was president, there would be no protesters. What are you talking about, bro? Because there would still be vaccine mandates in New York City. There'd still be vaccine mandates on Royal Caribbean. Therefore, there would still be protests in those cities and those areas. He is such a liar. I'm sorry. I serve Christ. I try. I fall short every day, but I try. I serve God. I serve America. I do not serve the vaccine salesman. I do not serve Grandpa Moderna. I do not serve the new George Bush, who threw us for a loop and then sold vaccines and tried to poo-poo protesters. Listen, folks.
People don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it. And we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking. And he's now president. And he's doing a lousy job with coronavirus.
We had it rocking. When I was president, people were getting vaccinated. If I was president, there would be no protesters. If I was president, all these people in the streets would be vaccinated. That's literally his message. And these QAnon accounts, I don't even care because human trafficking is real. It's just you guys make a big mockery of it. That's why they annoy me so much. I'm just going to get into it real quick. Then I'm going to play it. They act like I'm a show. No, I believe in human trafficking. I believe in child trafficking. Why? Because it's really real. Everybody knows it. The problem is you guys take it and you're like, we own human trafficking. It's our little experience. And like, you guys act like idiots. So then everybody makes a joke out of you because you're so easy to fool. Literally, I could go on 8chan and be like, hello, Patriots. Do you see this clip? This means the paperclip from Microsoft Word, is a pedophile. And they'd be like, holy shit, I knew it the whole time. Remember that Microsoft? Like, literally, that's how easy it is to fool you guys. Excuse me. So these accounts that do sloppy research, sloppy reporting, they come to me and they're like, Anomaly's a shell. Duh. It's like, why? What are you so mad at? And then they start posting I posted opensecrets.org. It's not like an experiment that I found. It's the number one website where you can find lobbying money. Because when you're a politician, all the money that's lobbied to you is mostly public. It's public domain. So they posted it on opensecrets.org. I just showed you the top 20 pharmacy lobbied politicians from 2020. It's not like I made the list. I just posted it. And the QAnon accounts are like, see, this is why Anomaly's a shill, because he posts pharmacy lobby. It's like just shut up for once, guys, and listen to Donald Trump. He doesn't care about you. You obsess over this guy who literally thinks you should stop protesting for the vaccine passport. He had an opportunity. I'm going to run it back. He had an opportunity to strongly say, and I've been saying this for a year, and you're like, well, he didn't make it mandatory. No, I get it, but he's not in office now. But also, he can take a strong stance. If he wanted to, he could free the world just with his message. He's got millions, hundreds of millions of people who would literally jump if he said how high, or vice versa. With his leadership, he's never cared. And I told you guys this. So finally, he was asked the direct question, because I could tell just by how he's talking all the time, he doesn't care. And she asked him directly, what do you think of vaccine passports? And he literally said, if I was president, Biden, they would have gotten the shots. There would be no protesters. He literally despises you. He literally looks at you like little ants who just serve him. Me, 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 me. I'm Mr. Ventilator. This guy is disgusting. He's worse than I thought. I really didn't think, because I thought if he was asked the question, he would be like, yeah, everybody deserves their freedom. And like his little BS answer he's been giving after the vaccine sale, he's like, vaccine, but yeah, like freedom or whatever. Like that's all and people were like, whoa, he's so for freedom. He doesn't care. He gave you like 2 words out of 1,000. But this is the first, I'm going to play it all the way through because I really want people to listen. I'm just going to walk away and drink my tea because I don't think I could keep a straight face for this long. So I'll come back in a little bit.
The administration is getting set to recommend a 3rd shot for the fully vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, all
right. See, that's why I can't come here. But he's lying. There's no Spanish flu if he doesn't rush these vaccines. He's a fraud. Look at the data in Israel, Trump. Look at the data all over the country. Look at the data in Hawaii versus the data in Texas. Mask mandates, lockdowns, your Operation Warp Speed. He's such a fraud. There is no Spanish. Oh, he saved 100 million lives. This guy is such an asshole. Oh, it's all about me. I saved the world. I'm a world-saving wizard. No, you're not, Trump. You did the bidding of Big Pharma. The efficacy went from 95% in Israel to like below 40%. Now they're getting a 3rd booster. They're doing worse than last August. Even New York Times is admitting today that they are no longer the model of COVID freedom because they didn't do it right. And you're still here brainwashed with your giant ego, acting like you saved the entire planet with a freaking COVID shot. He's such a fraud. 100 million people would have died. Give me a break. Okay, this is why I gotta walk away. Sorry.
Up to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it. And we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking. And he's now president, and he's doing a lousy job with coronavirus. Coronavirus is back. If that ever happened to me where it came back, okay, when I left, it was virtually.
Someone said, when did he turn on Trump? Yesterday? Guys, you're not listening. Just listen. Stop talking for one time. My goodness. It's like, listen to what he's saying. I've been reporting the truth since last March. Trump's been lying his ass off for 2 years. This is the worst thing he's ever done. He doesn't stand with you. He doesn't stand with the protesters. He doesn't stand against you with the vaccine passport tyranny. He thinks if he was president, you'd get your shot and you wouldn't be protesting. Think about how bad this is, folks. This is your idol who's the Ninja Turtle who's going to save America, like the George Washington reincarnated to like half of the world. And they ask him, what do you think about the vaccine passport, which is this authoritarian tyranny that you have to scan in that you got your booster shot whenever they tell you to for the rest of your life, or else you can't access food facilities. This is like Black Mirror straight out of Revelations hellscape. And she gives him the opportunity to say, you're against this, right? And he doesn't say anything. He says, if I was president, they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't be protesting. He didn't say you should be protesting because this is psycho. He thinks if he was there, you would just shut up and get in line. He hates you. He hates your family. He hates freedom. He loves himself. He loves big pharma. He loves his ego. He loves credit. And you are so far behind in that priority scheme that he will literally side with tyranny and corruption and authoritarian medical tyranny before he even gives two shits about you. If you guys don't wake up, these pro-Trump pages, now responsible for propaganda, support the guy for 4 years. They're lying about Russia collusion. They're lying about everything. Support Donald Trump when it's the right thing to do. As soon as he starts becoming a fraud like this, if you just post Ninja Turtle propaganda acting like he's this superhero out of a freaking Pixar movie, you're complicit in the evil takeover of America. If you can't post this clip on your channel, are you kidding me? This is garbaggio. Okay, let's listen again, and then we'll go about Afghanistan.
People don't want to take it. And, you know, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it.
Listen.
They don't take it because they don't trust Biden, and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it, and we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking, and he's now president. And he's doing a lousy job with coronavirus. Coronavirus is back. If that ever happened to me where it came back, okay, when I left, it was virtually gone. It was over. It was a path. Now it's coming back through the Delta.
Rachel said he never said he was going to Rachel, you guys are so foolish. They treat you like animals and sheep and idiots because you act like animals, sheep, and idiots. Listen to what he says. It's not about what he says. He said America would never be a socialist nation. And then he printed $9 trillion, 15 days to slow the spread, extended the lockdown, and said Sweden is so bad for opening. It's not what he says, it's what he does. He said that he hired General Milley because, who's the terrible general that all the conservatives say, I hired him because the general I didn't like him. It's like he's like a kindergartner. You guys don't listen. You guys are so stupid. Anomaly, I'm out, man, because he said he would mandate it. Okay, well, he said we'd never be a socialist nation, and he walked out of the country with America in a medical hellscape, and he finally got the chance to answer the question. Donald Trump, do you stand with the people of the world? Do you stand with humanity? Do you stand with Australia? Do you stand with the nurses, the millions of nurses who voted for you that are being forced vaccinated against their will? The Black youth in New York City who doesn't want to get the vaccine, and people in New York City of all colors. Do you stand on the right side of history, Donald Trump? Do you have anything to say to the people? Do you have any message at all? He's a vaccine salesman. Think about what a terrible person you have to be to take this opportunity to stand up for humanity. Can you talk about the biggest issue facing humanity? Actually, Maria, I'm going to make a vaccine sale for 2 minutes, and I'm going to pretend like the protesters are the bad people. And if I was president, they wouldn't be protesting. You have to be a garbage person to do that. And you have to be a damn fool to walk out of this live stream saying, oh, I mean, he would man. Listen to what he's saying. It's garbage. And I'm telling, someone said $9 trillion for infrastructure. Someone said Obama, $21 trillion. They're all printing money. You're totally right. Obama's not the hero either. They're all printing money. They're all taking your income taxes. They all were in on the lockdown in March and April. And they're all in on the Operation Warp Speed big pharma salesman. It's a big sales pitch. It's like if I want to go to a car sales, like, you've never seen a Honda Accord like this, bucko. I'll give you, like, that's Trump. He's a used car salesman for this. If you guys can't listen, I'm going to play it one more time, and then I got to move on to Afghanistan. It's like reading these comments. It's people. It's so pathetic. If this guy runs and people slobber over him, you deserve to end up like Australia. And I don't want to be like that, but I'm just saying this guy, if we don't have enough Americana to look at this guy and say, this is a disgraceful interview, you had one chance to stand up against the vaccine passport and you decided to slobber all over your product for 2 minutes when nobody asked you to do a sales pitch. He's like a brain broken salesman for the vaccine. They're like, so what about freedom for Americans? He's like, speaking of freedom, my vaccine's so good. I did the ventilators. I did the testing. Me. If Biden wasn't in office, everybody would be in line. There would be no protesters. He's horrible. And you're horrible if you can't acknowledge this. I'm sorry. I don't care if you put an R next to your name. I don't care if you have a Trump hat. I don't care if you go to sleep with a Biden doll. Okay. It's not about what side you pick, although Biden's garbage, but that you're no longer on the right side. Wake up, folks. Listen.
Or, maybe 100 million people, 50 million. Very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it. And we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking. And he's now president, and he's doing a lousy job with coronavirus. Coronavirus is back. If that ever happened to me where it came back, okay, when I left, it was virtually gone. It was over. It was a past. Now it's coming back through the... Is he a moron? Is he like a fifth grader? Coronavirus is back. It's like seasonal. It comes up and down and up and down. It's like the flu. It comes back. Like Israel thought they got rid of it. They didn't get rid of it. You're not getting rid of this, you moron. He's like, I got rid of it. And my, it's like, he's such a dummy. And so are you, if you believe this stuff. And I don't know if you even want to call it that. All you call it is the China virus is back. And so why is he doing a good job?
Do you need to remember? Do you guys not remember the question she asked? She didn't ask him how great he was and how great his vaccine was. She asked him, hey, Trump, millions of people who voted for you, millions of people in the biggest and the greatest cities in our country, millions of people are facing forced vaccination or they can't go indoors. What do you think about that? He has nothing to say to you. If you think that's good, you are an idiot. Well, Anomaly, I disagree with you calling me that. Idiot. I'm sorry. This is crunch time. Australia's under like a slave lockdown because they don't have two parties. They have two BS parties and they locked them down. You guys are like 3 months away from that. And you're running around Mike Lindell, who's telling you Donald Trump's going to get back into office. And Donald Trump is the vaccine salesman. He is the PCR test salesman. He's the ventilator salesman. He's the lockdown salesman. He doesn't care about you. Listen to the question one more time and then listen to his response. If this is okay with you from leadership, you are one of the dumbest people I've ever met who is going to suffer the dumbest fate I've ever met, because that's what happens to dumb people who act like sheep. The government treats them like dumb sheep, okay? It's your last chance to listen.
So that mail-in ballots can be the standard. I want to get your take on needing proof to go into restaurants, needing proof of the vaccine to go into certain stores.
So keep in mind, she's not asking him to do a used car sales pitch for Moderna and Pfizer. She says people can't go into stores without a vaccine. Donald Trump, what do you have to say with this? This is pretty crazy. What would what would you do? What's going on? What's going on in your mind? That's the question. Listen to his answer.
Thoughts on where we are with these new mask mandates coming back. And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend a third shot for the fully vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it. And we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking. And he's now president, and he's doing a lousy job.
Are you that stupid to think that that's a good answer? Donald Trump, the biggest question facing humanity, vaccine mandates in cities. What do you think about that? Would you get a booster? I think that my vaccine's great. I think I saved 50 to 100 million lives. I think the vaccine's great. I got it. I think everyone should get it. If I was president, everyone would have got it. The reason people don't want to get the vaccine is because Biden's president. If I was president, there would be no protesters. Listen, He doesn't care about you. He doesn't want protesters. He doesn't support protesters. He supports people who go to his vaccine rally and listen to him talk like a grandpa. He supports people who go to the Capitol and get set up by the FBI. He doesn't support you if you're out protesting vaccines. He takes offense to it. He's the vaccine salesman. It's like going to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and saying you don't want a candy bar. He doesn't like it because he's Grandpa Moderna. And I've told people that for a damn year. And I've taken so much hate, not even from liberals. I get media smear pieces from idiots at NPR sometimes, but from Trump supporters who literally slobber over a guy that couldn't give two shits whether they pass out in an alley or not. He couldn't possibly tell you more times that he doesn't care. People are like, I wonder why he dodged the question, because he doesn't care. I told people that for a year. He finally had a chance to answer the exact question we've all been waiting for, and he doesn't even answer it because he literally doesn't care. He wants you to get it. He doesn't care. And if that's the type of leadership that you think is acceptable, you deserve to end up like Australia. And you're going to end up like Australia. If you're that stupid and weak and pathetic and embarrassing, you're going to end up like Australia on a permanent lockdown, on permanent tyranny, because you don't have a party fighting for you. And the more you think you do, it's so obvious. My God, it's pathetic. But I want to talk about real quick Afghanistan, because unfortunately, here's going to piss off more people. All these conservative accounts that I follow are lying about Afghanistan and trying to push liberalism and democracy to Afghanistan. Like, it's like, did anybody learn anything from the George Bush era? Do we have to go over it again? George Bush launched the war in Afghanistan, war in Iraq. We're all over the place. Bin Laden, by the way, I know they didn't tell you on TV. See, now we have social media. We can actually look things up and listen to people. Back then, people just had a TV. They thought Bin Laden was some like lazy, poor Arab guy in a cave. Bin Laden's a billionaire from Saudi Arabia. When they went to Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, I'm sorry, but it didn't have that much to do with the Taliban or Al-Qaeda. I know they told you it did, but it didn't. The Taliban, say what you want about them, they eliminated all the poppy in their seat. This is all well documented. 99% of the poppy fields and heroin production in their country was eliminated. 75% of the heroin production around the world was eliminated. That's a good thing. Then George Bush went in, and all of a sudden the heroin started growing again. So anyway, 20 years of a failed war. The Patriot Act was passed, and conservatives still don't get it. They're like, look at the women over there. It's like, just shut up, guys. I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about these conservative accounts. They're just so dumb. The whole point of the Afghanistan war, they drained you dry. They drained you dry. Trillions of dollars were spent on the Afghanistan war. Trillions of dollars. Do you know how much trillions of dollars can do for your country, for your family, for your city, for the roads, for the schools? Your politicians from Bush to Obama to Trump, they don't give a shit about you. And you just think they do. So they keep just scamming you and taking your income tax. But in general, they sucked our country dry, which led us to even be at the point we're at. But they also, importantly, passed the Patriot Act. If you guys know what the Patriot Act is, they duped Republicans and conservatives, these same idiot accounts that I follow on Instagram that just post like Boomer Romney content, except with the Trump face on it. And they act like they're so woke, even though they're just as dumb as John McCain and that whole era of like GOP fraudulence. They sold it to Republicans and said, hey, guys, we got to go fight these terrorists who did 9/11. So we're going to pass the Patriot Act. And they called it the Patriot Act because, right, Patriot, I'm a patriot. I want to go after the terrorists. But most people at the time didn't read it or didn't really care. And in the Patriot Act, it pretty much brought in what they could call terrorists. And in the wording, we always thought, and a lot of people with foresight, I'm not taking like, I'm just talking about Ron Paul, et cetera, the legends. They were like, this is going to be used against you. So at the time, all these Republicans were like, yeah, we're getting the terrorists. Now the Patriot Act, after Trump set everybody up at the Capitol, is being used against literal patriots in this country. It always was going to. So the Afghanistan war was a complete failure. We grew heroin. I mean, I'm sure there were some good things that the military did in general, but trillions of dollars wasted, and they passed a bill that would eventually be used to call you a terrorist. So that's what's happening now. It's 2021, mandatory lockdowns, vaccines, and they're calling a bunch of Trump supporters terrorists. And these accounts are still posting this goofy propaganda. They're like, can you believe? And you got to listen to me because you're never going to hear this from another conservative account. They're all idiots. I'm not saying everybody, but most of them. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just so tired of this bullshit. Anyway, they're posting these memes. Can you believe that they're erasing women off of walls? Oh my God, we got to go to Afghanistan and go save the people there because they're erasing women out of their society. It's like, have you ever watched? Someone said I'm out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, bro. Have you ever looked at our murals? We have George Floyd murals. We have George Floyd sculptures. We have like degenerate LGBT, alcohol, satanic witchcraft all over LA. Like it's the most degenerate billboards all over the place. It's like you look at our country, we do the opposite of what the Muslims, the Taliban, and like very Islamic people do. I'm just being honest. I'm not Islamic. I'm Christian. I'm not the Taliban. I don't support them, but it's not my country. So what they're doing is a more conservative approach to pretty much everything. I mean, when it comes to women, they draw a hard line. When it comes to God, they pray 8 times a day, 7 times a day, 9 times. I forget how many times a day. You know, when it comes to their society, they draw a very firm line. So here's the thing that Christian conservatives aren't getting in this country. The pastors are right. The pastors who told you, if you do this, this is all going to happen. If you greenlight gay marriage, then all of this drag queen stuff's going to happen. And like kids and, you know, everyone was like, that's crazy. Even me at the time, that's crazy, Pastor Anderson. That's crazy. You're a psycho, right? You know, that'll never happen. They just want to get married. I thought the same thing. But the slippery slope is real for that type of stuff. And the slippery slope is real for 15 days to slow the spread. That's how they do it. They do a slippery slope. They open it. So I'm just personally saying what they're doing is drawing a very harsh line and saying none of that. You know, God, man, woman. Women are not going to run around with their OnlyFans accounts. They're going to be subservient to their husband. You know, there is going to be no sodomy. There is going to be no, you know, drug use in certain areas, and we're not budging an inch. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do because I'm not Islamic. It's not my religion. But the last thing I want to do is spread our filth and degeneracy to Afghanistan. I'm not saying I hate America. I love America. But to be honest, New York City has vaccine passports right now. Los Angeles is like a no-go zone. Not only is the crime rampant, it's disgusting with homelessness, and the degenerate billboards all over there are 20 times as disgusting as any billboard you'll ever see in Afghanistan. LA is disgusting on every level. They're doing vaccine passports there as well. So why do conservative pages still buy into this Bush level propaganda and say, oh, we're going to go help them and spread democracy? Trump pages, you don't even think the election was real this year. You guys are all complaining about how rigged the election was, and then you want to go over to Taliban to spread democracy? You guys make no sense. You've become the hypocrites that you think you aren't. And your idea of conservatism isn't conserving anything. What are Christian conservatives conserving in America? What are they conserving? The Second Amendment, barely. The First Amendment, not at all. Their religion, pretty much not at all. Like everything's going backwards. They're not conserving anything because Christians in America don't draw a hard line anymore. They're soft and weak. And when I say something about the Republican Party, there isn't like, finally, someone said it. Most people, it's a threat. It's a threat to their laziness. They want to just sit on the couch and microwave food and listen to Donald Trump lie to them or something. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want the country to do a hardline stance. They just want to let it fall apart. So all these conservative pages, what they're really trying to do, they don't even know it, but what they're really doing is saying Afghanistan needs to be like us. They need to treat women and gay people like us. They need drag queen story hour. They need pronouns in their bio. Is that what the Taliban wants? Do they want, you know, Los Angeles like billboards everywhere? Do they want pride parades with like 4-year-olds being sexualized, looking at like kinky older men doing gay stuff? That's what you want to bring to Afghanistan? Well, no, not. Well, then what do you want to bring to Afghanistan? You don't know what you want to bring to Afghanistan because you're not even bringing anything to yourself. Look up Dallas. Dallas used to be Republican. Now it's liberal. Los Angeles at a certain point had a Republican government. Now everything's liberal. What do you have? You don't own any of your own cities. All of your cities are controlled by liberals. All of your corporations are controlled by liberals. The education system's controlled by liberals. All the social media is controlled by liberals. All the corporate news stations are controlled by liberals. And Fox News is like a sham of what it probably once was, if it ever was anything. What are you going to do for Afghanistan? You guys can't even do shit in your own country. You guys can't even tell the truth about Donald Trump, the vaccine salesman, let alone conserve anything in this country. So all they could post is like these Romney boomer tier propaganda Bush era stuff like, oh my God, the Afghans are going to, you know, put women in their place. How? Okay, well, what do you want them to do? Have Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein run their country? Like, you don't have a culture worth preserving anymore. You don't have the godlike aura coming out of America anymore. Your country doesn't serve Christ anymore. You don't have the moral high ground anymore. You don't have the freedom high ground anymore. That's why, to their credit, the Taliban said when they asked them about all their speech laws and stuff, they said, what about Facebook? And they're right. I'm not saying they're better than Facebook, but Facebook doesn't have the moral high ground. Facebook censored the president of the United States. Donald Trump's a vaccine salesman, but I wouldn't ban him from Twitter or Facebook. I'm not a psychopath. They are. They're worse than some of these countries we've invaded. If this was a country overseas, we would invade them just for doing what they did to President Trump. We try to overthrow places like Belarus because they're having big protests. What if they did that when we have a women's protest? We are such hypocrites. We don't have that culture worth preserving anymore. And to be quite frank, we don't draw our line in the sand. So our whole country is spiraling to degeneracy, filth, and wickedness. So what conservative accounts don't realize they're doing by saying, well, they're taking women off the walls, what they're doing is conservatism. It's just extreme conservatism. If our conservatism in America was working, then maybe I'd look at the Taliban and say, you know what? You guys are pretty crazy. I mean, you guys should tone it down a bit and be like us, but nobody wants to be like us. So it's like, you guys don't draw a line in the sand. That's where they draw a line in the sand. I don't agree with what they do to women, but taking them off, what's worse, taking them off billboards so people aren't sexualizing them on billboards, or sexualizing them on billboards, putting obesity on billboards, putting literally LGBT demonic vodka. I've seen it all in Los Angeles. They have the creepiest ads. I'm not even this goody two shoes, but I'm looking at all the advertisements in our country and I'm like, this is straight up filthy. It's disgusting. Our commercials are disgusting. What we bow to is disgusting. So this is why conservatives have become, whether they know it or not, controlled opposition gatekeepers. They can't conserve anything in this country, and they just won't shut up about Afghanistan. They'll post 30 times about Afghanistan. They'll never post the truth about Trump. They'll post 50 times about Afghanistan. They're not even posting about Australia or New York City, which are in far worse condition. What's happening on Australia is way worse than what's happening in Afghanistan. Are they treating people worse? And can you die easier in Afghanistan? For sure. It's crazy out there. But I'm just saying they don't have a mask mandate. They don't have a vaccine mandate. We don't have the moral high ground anymore. We don't have the medical high ground anymore. We're disgusting. So this is the modern conservative. They gatekeep nothing. They do nothing. And they try to export filth, degeneracy, and wickedness, just like a liberal, all over the world, and act like they're doing something. I'm so tired of these conservative guys. We're going to save Afghanistan. You can't even save Texas. How are you going to save Afghanistan? It's time for us to shut our mouths, and it's time for us to focus on America. Clean up Los Angeles. Liberals should shut up and clean Los Angeles. And right now, we're 3 months away from being under some sort of digital passport system. They're looking at ways to do this on a corporate scale. You better believe this would have happened during the Trump era too. He acts like he would have done something about New York City. People say, well, anomaly. When I talk about what he did and what he didn't do, people always say, well, anomaly. Trump didn't have the power, federalism. So the states did. And that's true. That's a real thing. But there's other things involved. Anyway, so on one breath, you're going to say he can't do anything about New York City. Okay, so how is he going to stop the vaccine mandate in New York City? He wasn't. How is he going to stop the vaccine mandate on rural Caribbean? He wasn't. In fact, his own Supreme Court judges are siding with the vaccine mandates. He wasn't going to do it. It's all this big show. Ooh, impeach Biden and I'll get in and really show you. He'll show you who he is. He's a big clown vaccine salesman. Me. He loves the attention, but he didn't have a plan. The only plan that we have, or that we need to have, is people need to focus on this country. So conservatives have been, to sum it up, conservatives have been psyoped into trying to make a conservative, godly group of people more disgusting, liberal, and degenerate. And it's not right. If there wasn't so much media propaganda, Islamic people overseas would not be our enemy. They would be, it's like a wolf and a fox. You ever heard that thing? It's like with the Islam and Christianity, you're not the same, but at a certain point, if people can just mind their own business for the time being, it's not that bad. What the media does is the worst. They get conservatives in America to try to go over to a more conservative country and spread heroin, war, wasted money, and pronouns. It's so deceptive. So I'm going to stay for a few minutes. I'm not going to stay that long. I'm probably going to edit that video and try to share it on Instagram, but that's the Afghanistan deception. It doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean it's amazing. It's not our country, and we got to focus on our own country. When we focus on ourselves again, we'll be great. We don't have the culture or the godliness or the democracy or the liberalism to export anymore. We don't have a control on it. And the reason we don't have a control on it is the slippery slope fallacy. It's real. It really is real, the slippery slope, whether it's your freedom, your liberty, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, or Christianity, or legalizing something that people wanted to legalize. The slippery slope is real. So leave the Muslims alone when they try to take a hardline stance against it. Because to be quite fair, I'm starting to think that that's the only way to actually stop it. Muslims take a hardline stance against it, and they have some success. They beat the greatest empire the world has ever seen. That's impressive. I'm America. I love my country, but the Taliban, a bunch of people just living in the middle of nowhere, somehow beat the greatest country and the greatest military power the world's ever seen. How did they do that? Determination, dedication, persistence. They don't have the biggest weapons in the world. They just don't stop. And that's how they won. And now they're trying to take whatever fake democracy we shared and put Sharia law there. It's not my religion, but they have the right to do that. That's their line in the sand. We are not allowing any of this stuff. Christians should learn from that. Don't become a full-blown Islamic person if you're a Christian, in my opinion, but learn from what they're doing. Take a heart. Christianity used to have a backbone in like the 50s, 60s. There's no backbone anymore. That's why your country's going to shit. You need a backbone. You don't need to go that far, but what are you doing? I mean, your country's a mess. And to be quite fair, I would love to see an experiment in Afghanistan, what it looks like with no women in politics. I'm not saying that that's happening here. We already have Kamala Harris, Dianne Feinstein, Marjorie Taylor Greene doing push-ups, but let them do their little experiment. I mean, it's like, oh no, they need women on billboards. They need sexualized women. They need pronouns. They need Nancy Pelosi in office. How are they going to survive with just men? They need Dianne Feinstein over there and what we have and pride parades like Israel and San Francisco. It's like, literally, no, they don't. They'll be fine. And if it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them. It's not our business. When we're being forced vaccinated, it's not our business. When I can't sit in a restaurant in New York City anymore, it's not my business. It's not my business what a bunch of Islamic people are doing in Afghanistan. It's not your business either. So it's time for these big conservative pages to shut the hell up and focus on their own country, because their brand of conservatism is garbage, garbaggio. The mainstream conservatives, they're like Trump. They don't care about the country anymore. They care about their ego, their fame, the next TPUSA event, what everybody else thinks, their Blaze TV interview. They don't give a shit about the country. They don't give a shit about the Constitution. They don't give a shit about the lockdowns. They don't want to report on Trump. They don't want to do anything. They just want to post Afghanistan memes 50, 60 times, take a bunch of MyPillow money, and just feed you half-baked conservatism that led you to the point you're at. The pillow industrial complex. God bless Mike Lindell, but I always joke and call it the pillow industrial complex. I'm not saying he's that bad. I'm just being funny. But it's like, they're almost worse than the liberals to me. The liberals are the people that are just nuts, right? It's like, dude, what are the liberals doing? I don't even talk about them that much because I'm not trying to be rude, but that small group of liberals that's running the show, that's a minority screeching that somehow has control of every major corporation. And then we have our side, right? The patriots, the 100 million people who supported Trump and really are on, and I look at my side and I'm like, they're so weak and so I'm like, how are we ever going to win anything if when we win, we lose? And when we win and lose, nobody wants to talk about it. And it's this big, well, I'm going to unfollow Anomaly. I don't want to talk about it. Then lose. I did a speech on Instagram today. When you're in halftime, when you're playing sports, I'm very athletic. I love sports. You don't talk about the other team. That's how you lose. I've said this before, but it needs to be said. You don't talk about, we're down 20. Well, that team is so bad and libtards. And yeah, that's funny. Haha. Let's laugh and enjoy ourselves. I love laughing at a Joe Biden meme. He's a fool. But at the same time, we have to talk about our team. That's how you win. You can't just talk about the other team. Yeah, they're a mess, but the joke is on us when we have our president in office for 4 years and it ends in a lockdown, Operation Warp Speed, and a failed vaccine sale, Capitol setup event where a bunch of people get arrested and interrogated. The joke's on us. If they're so bad, how the hell did we end up like that? It's because we suck too. But everybody just wants to pretend like we're winning all the time, make up this. No, we got to hold ourselves accountable. And the leader, whether I like it, whether you like it, whether you want to talk about it or not, the leader right now of the Republican Party is Donald J. Trump. He fundraises the most. He's the most popular. He's not only the most popular in America and in the Republican Party, Donald Trump is the most popular leader in the world, even after he got deplatformed. When Donald Trump speaks, more people listen. Nobody listens to Joe Biden. I mean, Probably Republicans who hate Joe Biden listen to Joe Biden more than liberals. I don't even listen to Joe Biden. It's not because I don't want to report on it. I just don't take him seriously. So I don't give a shit what he says. Like, I'm like, he's like a lady screaming at me across the street. I'm like, I'm not listening to this idiot. Who listens to Joe Biden? A bunch of conservative journalists who want to do a gotcha moment and give him more attention. No liberals are listening to Joe Biden for leadership. Maybe like 100 grannies watching CNN at a nursing home or something. But in general, Trump is the most important. He's the most massive leader in the world. When he puts out an email blast, I guarantee you 500 million people probably see it like that. Like, he's that popular. So if he's asked about vaccine passports, the biggest authoritarian overreach of our time, and he has nothing to say with it, that's the bigger problem, because we already know Joe Biden sucks. We already know he's got one foot in the nursing home. We already know they're going to replace him eventually with Kamala, probably before his term, or someone else. We know that. So what's going to happen if we win? What's going to happen in 2020? Nothing's going to happen, because you're following the vaccine salesman who won't even talk about the major issue, who apparently, according to this interview, doesn't even think protesters are good. He thinks they should go away, and if he was president, they'd go away. He's out of touch, and the reason he's out of touch, maybe he's old like Joe Biden and just stumbling, or maybe you've let him be out of touch because you just clap for him like a seal. It would be like equivalent to, like, if Paul McCartney or like, Yoko Ono or whatever the hell the lady, John Lennon's wife's name is, like, she puts out an album. It's like la 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 la, and then she's like, "How was that?" And like, there's like 100 million people there, and they're like, "You have no idea how that was the greatest thing I've ever heard. Holy shit! Oh my God, you're the greatest musician I've ever heard. Are you arresting the pedophiles? Is Christy Teigen in an underground water tunnel?" It's like, there would be no incentive to make better music because you're clapping for like that's what Trump has really become. He's become like a horrible leader, a horrible person. He has no problem lying and dodging the most important question. And you guys are just clapping like a seal. So he'll just go up there and like, and then you guys are like, holy shit, did I just watch the Super Bowl with Tom Brady? Like, no, you watched an old guy lie through his teeth for 2 minutes and ignore the most popular question in modern history. And I'm going to play it one more time, because it's that important. If this is our leader, this is a bigger problem than Joe Biden. Not because he's worse than Joe Biden, because we're never going to win anything in this country. Do you notice what happens? Do people notice we're declining even when a Republican wins? Do I need to tell you something? I know this is going to hurt people's feeling again. I'm not trying to be overly critical, but the two presidents who gave us this future of lockdowns and medical tyranny and mandates, whether you want to admit it or not, well, he didn't mandate it. Yeah, but he facilitated all of this stuff and green-lighted it and had no plan to stop it. It's like a roller coaster going 50 miles an hour. It was Reagan and Donald Trump, the two heroes of the Republican Party. Reagan, and I feel bad for Reagan because he got shot, so I don't know what that was over, but you can only imagine. God bless that guy. But anyway, Ronald Reagan signed the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. It wasn't until then that vaccines became a huge, huge, huge thing. They were huge in the 40s, the 50s, 60s, 70s. And then all of a sudden they became less and less profitable because people were realizing about the side effects and suing, and they didn't really have a plan for that like they do with other medications. So Reagan helped the industry. I don't know if he meant to, and I feel bad that he got shot, but he passed the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. And ever since then, the vaccine schedules increased because it's a profitable product now. It went from a product that you could sue them for injuries and side effects or deaths or spontaneous whatever, Guillain-Barré, to a product that you can't sue them for. Imagine that. So it was Ronald Reagan who passed the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, and it was Donald Trump who did Operation Warp Speed and the 15 days to slow the spread and the extension, and played this role of this American leader for freedom who, when asked a question about vaccine passports, is more interested in selling his vaccine than he is with standing with humanity. That's a problem. It's not just Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden's printing the money for sure. It sucks. You know what's crazier? Trump printed $9 trillion and nobody even talks about it. They act like it didn't even happen because it's like a sports team. It's like a sports game. You're the Raiders, you're the Broncos. What if I told you the Raiders and the Broncos are both working for Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson? What if I told you they both had the same guy at the top and the back? Like, you're playing a rigged game. You're playing a game where you can't cope with reality because it's so scary. So you make up this fake theory about how Donald Trump is like a character from a Netflix special. Like, he's not. He's a billionaire. He's an epic person. You don't need to make up a fake theory about Donald Trump. He's already epic. like, it's kind of rude. Like, Donald Trump, billionaire, playboy sort of guy, like, building Trump Towers, excellent facility. I've stayed there before, like, became president. He's kind of an epic guy. You don't need to make up a fake theory about him. It kind of sells him short. He's already one of like the most epic Americans ever. And you guys can't handle the truth about him. So you have to act like he's a Ninja Turtle with a time machine who met with Nikola Tesla to resurrect, JFK Jr. And like, people think I'm joking about this shit because obviously there are fringe people who think that. But you don't know how many times I meet people. They're like, dude, my sister thinks like JFK Jr. is the real president. And I'm like, what? I know people think that, but it's like people are following this idea that Donald Trump is seriously like a time traveler and that like JFK Jr. never died and is secretly like running the country from like an underground base. And like, you think I'm joking, and I hear someone like dude, my mom, and then I'll like meet someone, I'll be like, hey, what's up? And she'll be like, yeah, I listened to X-22 report, JFK Jr. is coming back soon. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you didn't hear about the Trump time machine? And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, right? And I'm like, where are you hearing this? I said, oh, I'm listening to this podcast. It's really crazy, man, because like everybody thinks like, everybody thinks the lockdowns are bad, but the lockdowns are actually good. The FEMA camps are for the bad guys. Like Tom Hanks, I saw him get off a plane. I saw a sign. So Guantanamo Bay, Guantanamo, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. There's a White Castle in Italy. Basically, Lynn Wood said the Vatican is going to get arrested. And I'm not going to say Obama's a pedophile, but, let's just say that Guantanamo is filled right now, if you know what I mean. And like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, are these people serious? And there's way more people like that than people think. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And then if it's not someone like that, it's someone that just loves Trump a lot, who gets inspired by that, and who won't say that Donald Trump is like a wizard who sits with Nikola Tesla and like Martin Luther King in a time machine. But at the same time, we'll constantly just post these propaganda memes where Trump is like a transformer, or like reminiscing on Trump. Like he's just standing there. They're like, gosh darn it, I wished I missed the days when we had a real president around here. I mean, Joe Biden's a failure. And it's like, yeah, Joe Biden is a clown. Joe Biden is an embarrassment. Did you guys see the interview where Joe Biden got asked about, holy shit, sorry, I can't stop laughing because it's so funny. Joe Biden is such a loser. Joe Biden was asked, I gotta find it. They were talking about Afghanistan, and they were like, "Hey, Joe Biden, like, what's up with like people falling out of planes?" And he was like, "That was 4 or 5 days ago." It's like, who says that? Like, who cares how many days ago? It's not like it was freaking in 1984. Like, it was 4 days ago, and you don't do any press conferences. That guy is such an idiot. He said it was 4 days ago. Give me a damn break around here. Give me some ice cream and get some corn pops around here. It's like, bro, you're the president of the United States, and you never answer questions. You do one interview and they ask you a question about something that just happened, and he acts like it was like 7,000 days ago. He's like, come on, man. It was 4 days ago. How are you going to ask me about that? It's like, this guy is a freaking idiot. So I know that it's hilarious. I love a good Biden meme because it's so funny, but we have to be more than that as a political party. Do we not? Because it's like, people are like, oh man, I miss Trump. Like, are you listening to Trump's interviews? Like, it's like, how did we get stuck with two 78-year-old dudes who are like losing their mind? I don't even know if Trump is like a horrible person or he's just getting so old that he doesn't remember. I call him Grandpa Moderna because he reminds me of a grandpa like telling his glory stories, but like forgetting them. Seriously, like listen to the Maria interview again and think about it not as Trump is an evil person. Think about him as a grandpa who's losing his mind, who literally thinks he's like selling a vaccine instead of standing up for people. It still means he's not a good leader, but it's like maybe that's what's happening. Cause she's like, what do you think about like vaccine tyranny? He's like, oh, vaccine, I sold it. I did it. I got the ventilators. I'm the guy. They wouldn't even be out there protesting. It's like, maybe he's like Biden. I'm not trying to be mean, but like that would feel better than like saying he's as terrible as I think he is. It's gotta be one or the other. Cause this is
to go into certain stores. Your thoughts on where we are with these new mask mandates coming back. And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend a third shot for the fully vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
All right. Keep in mind, she asked him about a booster shot. He eventually says he thinks the booster is a scam, which is appreciated. Thank you, Donald Trump. But She asked him, what do you think about vaccine passports, mask mandates, and booster shots? Listen to his answer. He seriously might be like Joe Biden, and I'm not trying to be mean.
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine.
So he identifies that there's people who don't want the vaccine passport. He doesn't say, I agree with those people. He says, you know what? If I was president, they wouldn't even be protesting. That's not true. All right. So how do we get stuck with that guy and this guy? Listen to this. This is our president right now. This is Joseph Biden, the president.
You got the vaccination? Are you okay? I mean, you see, no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're I really mean it. They're trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find, what the fuck are you talking about?
You got to see that. It's on my Twitter account. The Michael Scott or whatever, that actor is like, what the F are you talking? Like, he's like, yeah. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Seriously, like, this is how corrupt our country is. I know people don't want to think that their side is messed up, but like, we have like a 76-year-old guy who can't stop selling a vaccine when his supporters are begging him to stand up against vaccine passport, and like an 80-year-old who literally can't even remember where he is, and they're both just selling vaccines really poorly. Like, that is America right now. Two old guys that are I don't want to say sucked off, but so sucked up with big pharma money that they can't even talk because they're like losing their mind just shilling for big pharma. This is pretty sad. Like, I mean, Biden is definitely worse and worse shape, but I mean, you guys can act like Trump is like completely like crushing it if you want, because there's memes of Megatron, but he's pretty bad. I mean, what he said was pretty horrible. And it's almost worse because I don't expect anything out of Joe Biden. Like, Joe Biden could literally shit his pants on stage and I would laugh hysterically, but I wouldn't even be disappointed. Like, I'm more shocked when Joe Biden doesn't crap his pants. So that's why Trump annoys me more. It's not because I voted for Joe Biden. I voted for Trump. I'm a Trump fan. That's my team. So when Trump starts becoming like a pharma like shill, it's a little weird. If Joe Biden sat on stage and literally like pooped his pants and there's like crap on the stage, he's like, oops, oh no, and like walked out the stage, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, someone would be like, dude, did you know Joe Biden shit his pants? I'm like, no, send me the link. Like, it's not even that shocking because like literally people think, oh, when is Kamala going to take over? It's like whenever Joe Biden poops his pants or pisses his pants on stage, that's when Kamala's going to take over. Like, they're so close. Like, he just needs to literally soil himself. And then they're going to be like, maybe we pushed Joe Biden a little bit too far. Maybe we rode that train a little bit too far. That wouldn't even disappoint me that much because I know eventually he's probably going to poop his pants on stage. And if he doesn't, I would give his presidency a D-. He deserves an F, but a D- just for not pooping his pants, I think that's deserved. With Trump, I'm looking at this guy like, okay, he's got all these people on his side. He does all these rallies. He's got these email lists. He's got the whole RNC. He's got hundreds of millions of organizations looking at him. And he's like saying dumb crap too. So he annoys me even more. And Trump will never poop his pants on stage. That's what a man Trump is. But hopefully people share this video. I'm going to make a shorter clip with it and put it on Instagram. Seriously, I'm tired. I mean, I got energy like the Energizer Bunny, but I'm tired of these like dummy accounts, like these Q accounts that think that JFK Jr. is doing backflips in like Haiti, like fighting the Clinton Foundation. It's like, maybe he is doing backflips in Haiti, but like maybe he's not. Anyway, these accounts, they're literally complaining. Like, this is how sad some people are. If you like Trump, that's fine. If you voted for Trump, I voted for Trump. I get it. I've defended him 1,000 times when he was doing the right thing. But these accounts are trying to call me a shill because I posted big pharma lobbying donation money. That's all. That's what I did. And they're like, "How he's post?" It's like, how dumb are you? What, like, I could say you're a shill for big pharma. What are you trying to cover up big pharma lobbying? Like, I know they're not a shill. I know that they're just like low IQ women in their like 30s who are jealous of me or something. They're like, anybody with over 100,000 followers has to be controlled opposition. Like, I get you're jealous that nobody likes you and follows you, and when you do, your account gets deleted. Maybe it gets deleted because you're so damn sloppy at what you do. I'm not saying I justify censorship. There's way too many people who've gotten censored for no reason. But these Q accounts will be like, JFK Jr.'s back from the grave with the microchip needle in my nose. In my nose, the PCR test goes up my nose, and it goes to Antarctica. And in Antarctica, Nikola Tesla's standing there. He's slurping up the oxide. It's like, yeah, you're going to get banned because they're looking to ban you, and you guys are really stupid. So it's like, you're lobbying them to ban you. Like, for me, I freak out when they censor me, and I say that I'm going to get a lawyer because I probably would. I'm not saying I'd be successful, but like, you make it way too easy. Donald Trump should have never gotten banned, but like, when you're running a dumb account, it's just like, I don't know. I don't even agree with them banning you, but it's like they think because I'm doing well that someone must be paying me. And the irony of it is, I'll be honest, 100% self-made. I mean, I have friends, I have you, I have Patreon, I have people who've supported, and that is really my team. I don't take big pharma lobbying money. I'm not part of the pillow industrial complex. Okay. Mike Lindell doesn't pay me to pretend like his cyber symposium is the new Coachella. So whatever I say, I really mean. Trump got big pharma money. He got $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration. And then he put a pharma executive in HHS. And there were articles all over the place saying he put a pharmacy lobbyist as the head of human health services. That's going to get really swampy. That doesn't make me a sellout because I noticed that Trump literally took money. He's running for office. He has the right to take money from who he wants, but that doesn't make me a sellout. I took $0 from Pfizer. Trump took $1 million for his campaign. So who's like, I'm the shill? These people are so stupid. If they listened, they'd learn something. But, it's not for everybody. And that's with those accounts, it's like they make a mockery of conspiracy theories because, like, there are crazy things going on. You don't have to make something crazy up. Just look outside. It's a crazy world. Everything we talked about 15 years ago is literally happening in New York City. You don't have to make up, like, you don't need a thrill. It's not like 1964 where you're stuck on a ranch and the only person you could visit is your neighbor that lives a mile away. It's not like there's no thrills in the world and you just got to make shit up to, like, these people. It's just like, go to New York City and report in New York. You want to do something for the country? Go report on what's happening in New York City. You don't have to sit in your freaking office and hallucinate about the return of JFK Jr. Like, there's no need for that because the world is really crazy already. I don't understand these people. They're like, human trafficking is real. It's like, I agree. They're like, child trafficking is real. I'm like, I agree. They're like, so that means that secretly the Vatican's getting arrested because Italy's under lockdown. Lockdown. Think about it. Lockdown. What else goes down, Anomaly? Think about it, you shill. An elevator goes down. Think about Elevator was the name of a song by Outkast. Outkast, who's an outcast? Tom Hanks. Think about Hanks. Mr. Hanky. South Park. South Park, Cartman. What's in the cart? Apple juice. Okay, so next time you see Joe Biden or Trump drinking apple juice, they don't mean vaccine. They mean therapy, gene therapy. But therapy, Gene Simmons. Apple juice, Gene Simmons. There's a lot of pedophiles at Gene Simmons' house. And like, this is the type of shit they're doing. I'm like, you're not good at conspiracy theories. Like, I've listened to Alex Jones, David Icke. I've read books, Robert Anton Wilson. There's some legends out there that are actually like pretty good at conspiracy theories. And then there's others who aren't. But like, I think the worst people are the Q people. They're seriously the worst. Like, you're taking real things and just like playing like a game with it. And it's like really childish. Like, why does Anomaly have his account? Because I don't act like an idiot like you do. Like, oh no, Anomaly, if you listen and read between the lines, when Donald Trump says what he says, he doesn't say what he says. Only I can understand. It's like, you're not that smart. Get over yourself, They're like, Anomaly, I love Donald Trump. I listen to every word he says. Everything Donald Trump says, I listen to. I love it. I love Donald Trump, except for when Donald Trump doesn't say what I want him to say, I don't even listen to Donald Trump. I listen to everything he says, except when he says something I don't want to believe. So then I make up a thing in my head for what I want him to do. So when he says vaccine, he's talking about scene music, Panic at the Disco, disco, biscuit, biscuits, gravy, gravy, ladle, John Lennon, ladle. Listen, I don't need to get in the specifics, Anomaly, because you're a shill for Mossad. But if you really want to listen to me, we could talk about ladles, John Lennon, Yoko Ono, Yokozumo, the wrestler. And it goes back to The Undertaker. And let's just say Bill Gates Sr., not Junior, Sr., is not as dead as people think he is. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. And I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, you're just not smart enough. Oh, you're working for Big Pharma. Oh, how dare you? It's like, these people are so stupid. I could do this all day. Seriously, if I wanted to, I have way too much to do. I have a job, a life. What do you do, Anomaly? I don't know. I only broke the Australia lockdown story to the whole world. My bad for my living room. I broke a story about the Australia lockdown. Now everybody's covering it across. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I don't do. What do you do? Make up freaking theories about JFK Jr.? Yeah, I wonder who's doing more. It's like I could do this all day. What I was saying is, if I wanted to, and I was like too busy, like if I had free time, I would make an account and just see how I could fool them. I don't want to do that because I'm way interested in what I'm doing. But like, I seriously think I could fool all these people. I could put something up and I'll be like, you see, do you see or do you see? Green science, Fauci. Fauci is inside here, JFK Jr. and Fauci. Oh, they knew each other. Oh, it goes way deeper. You remember Amelia Earhart? Oh, yeah, you remember the mysterious crest? Well, she's not dead. She's running Guantanamo. And people would be like, sir, yes, sir, here to report Q Army. It's like the worst conspiracy theories. I could seriously fool them if I wanted to. I'm just too busy not being a fool. But they think they're so smart. She puts up on her account. I'm not even kidding. I went after this chick because she's like, Anomaly's the shit. I have proof. And she just says, because I have a lot of followers on Instagram, that I must be a shill. And her proof was, get this, her proof of me being a shill, which, by the way, I know myself, I'm not. Her proof was that I posted opensecrets.org, which is a notorious lobbying open source thing that even freaking WikiLeaks used to use. It's an open source who's lobbying who in politics. I just posted it. And that's her proof. He must be a shill because he posted lobbying money. It's like, you're so stupid. And I like, if your IQ's that low, it's fine, but just stick to like Connect 4 and like Candy Crush. Like, don't come into the big boys arena if you're that dumb. I get this. I get these chicks like they're angry or something. They couldn't get a Hollywood special when they lived in Hollywood, so they ran to Tennessee and started like a QAnon blog. Like, I get it. I feel bad. Listen, not everybody's a star, but the least you can do is just leave me alone, okay? 100% self-made. I don't get pharma money. I don't take donations. I don't take bribes. You can't. These conservative organizations can't control me. I don't need women. I don't need a stage. I don't need what they have. I'll take it if the deal's right. But all these other people, they're not this free. They can't tell you what they really think. They got to tell you what everyone else thinks because Johnny and Susie might get mad at tomorrow's fourth grade little luncheon. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Shill. Give me a break. These people are ridiculous. David said, you're being kind of bratty because deep down you can't answer how Trump was supposed to anti-vax calm the toilet paper people. Bro, what are you even talking about? First of all, you're calling me bratty. It's like, can you just watch a hilarious show and laugh? Like, what part of the last 5 minutes wasn't funny to you that you had to leave that comment? But also, I'm not asking Trump to be anti-vax. Like, this is the biggest straw man. Like, you want him to be anti-vaccine. It's like, when have I ever said that? She asked him a question about vaccine passports, okay? Let's reverse roles. I don't like to put myself in his shoes because Trump's Trump, me. I don't want to be Trump, okay? Vice versa. I love and appreciate who he is. But Answer the damn question. Say it's unbelievable that they're trying to force vaccinate the military. It's unbelievable that millions of my supporters are being force vaccinated as nurses. They served last year when there was no vaccine, and you can't let them serve now. It's disgraceful that people can't go to school. It's disgusting that my Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Fraudulent Barrett, green lighted mandatory vaccines for 17, 18, and 19-year-olds on a college campus and above. It's gross, and I stand firmly against vaccine tyranny. That's an answer. That's somebody who gives a shit. No one asked him about how great his vaccine sale was. She asked him if he stands up against vaccine passports, and he did a vaccine ad and basically sided against protesters. So, like I said, don't come into the big boy arena with little boy questions. If you're going to call me bratty, you better have a good argument better than that, bro. It's so easy. And it's not because I'm so special. You guys just don't listen and make up dumb points. Someone said he gave a political answer. He's been a politician and a vaccine salesman. I don't call him the vaccine salesman because of any other reason besides he's a vaccine salesman. I had 2 interviews today. One of them was for Red Pill America. Make sure you watch that in 2 weeks. I think it's one of the biggest conservative podcasts. It's called Red Pill America. They interviewed me. It went fantastically. I held my own. Great guy, smart guy. Definitely, I think, agreed with me, but was, really cool guy, really smart guy. But anyway, I did an interview with National File, Patrick Howley and them. Love them. That was so fun, super fun. But the one, I forget his name, but Patrick's his guy, he said, so he's like, so you call Trump you call him the father of vaccines. I was like, to be fair, I don't call Trump the father of vaccines. Trump calls himself the father of vaccines. I call him Grandpa Moderna. And he started laughing because it was funny. Those guys are awesome at National File. But, I was like, I didn't call him the father of vaccines. He called himself the father of vaccines. I call him Grandpa Moderna, the great vaccine salesman, because that's what he does. Like, if you listen to what he's doing, he sounds like a politician who's also a used car salesman who's trying to sell you a vaccine like a Honda Civic. Like, seriously, it saved 100. He said it saved 50 or 100 million lives. It's like, that's a pretty big gap, is it not? I think it saved 50 million lives or 100 million. Do you think that? That's like getting a Toyota Camry from like 1988. And I'm like, it's got like 300,000 miles on it. And I'm like, bro, does this thing run? He's like, you wouldn't believe how this runs faster than a new car. He's like, you could say it's like a Ford Thunderbolt from 1960. He's like, man, Henry Ford would have loved one of these. It's like, he's like a used car salesman. Like, you think he's fooling me? He could fool you. He's not fooling me. He's like a used car salesman for this product, which he's going to learn with the booster shots. He's like, I don't think the booster shot. Trump was fooled, or he's a fool. He thinks this is the greatest product ever that's going to last forever. And now they're realizing in Israel, the efficacy, look it up, went from 95% to like 39, 38. They need a booster because it's not working like they said it was going to work. Trump has such a big ego. He doesn't want to believe that his product isn't the greatest thing ever. He wants to march around the country for the next 10 years and say my product saved 100 million lives. So he's in for a rude awakening when he realizes what's really happening. I'm just being honest. You guys think you're so nice to him? A nice person, when you got something on your face, you're supposed to say, hey, you got something on your face. You're not supposed to, oh, you look great. You got food all over your face. Hey, you look awesome. That's not a real friend. A real friend says, yo, you got something on your face. Trump is going to be the fall guy when all of this stuff comes out. And he's going to look like an idiot because you guys just slobbered over him. And eventually he's going to realize his whole spiel is a lie. He thinks the products, he's like, I thought, they asked him about boosters. He gave a good answer, but he's like, I thought these were going to last a year, 2 years, or a long time. It's like, they lied to you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. They told you you're going to be the hero. And if you get the vaccine out, it's going to give immunity and you're going to save the world. And you actually believe them. And now you can't. This is why me and Alex Berenson do well. If you give anybody a follow, I would say, I'm not trying to put myself in like a high category, but me and Alex Berenson by far do the best reporting on the COVID and data. And it's not even close. We read the data. And here's the crazy part. I know that some of it is cooked in the sense of if you die with COVID, you have COVID, the test, they're testing everywhere. But the data tells a funny story. Even the data they give out never tells the story that they tell. So if you follow me and Alex Berenson, we've been calling this out for a year and a half because we look at the data. And the data doesn't say what Trump said, and it never said what Trump said. So when they said the Israel vaccines were 95% effective, that's what they said. And then a couple months later, they said they were 30-something% effective. You know why? Because the big trial is unfolding and it wasn't what they said. I mean, you could claim that something miraculous happened, but the data doesn't lie. The data in Israel is very clear, and so is the data in other countries. And it doesn't say what Trump said. It doesn't say that he saved 100 million lives. It doesn't say that it's going to last and give people lifelong immunity. Trump is he's like a walking vaccine salesman who literally knows nothing about his own product. Like, somebody's like, dude, Trump, it's not really lasting as long as they thought. He's like, oh, no, I saved 100 million lives. Damn it. He's like, oh, no, Fauci told me it was going to last for 5 years. It's like, dude, they lied to you. So the nicest thing you could do to him is I'm trying to help this guy. You guys are like walking him off a cliff. I'm like, hey, Trump, I voted for you, bro. Don Jr., somebody, this guy, he's in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. More information is going to come out. More data is going to come out. And they're not going to be able to hide it and censor you for that much longer. I'll tell you what, 2 things are going to happen. People who got the 2 shots, they could say what they want, the CDC, the FDA. Most people who got the shots, whether this was on them or not, they were under the assumption that they weren't going to have to get booster shots every year. I'm not saying it's anyone else's fault but their own, but people who got the shot, not everyone's going to want to get a booster shot. I did a little study on my Twitter. More than half of the people said, I got 2 shots. I don't want a 3rd shot. I'm not getting one in 8 months. So they're going to have a way harder time getting a 3rd and 4th dose. Like, this is going to fall apart, but they've already made $10, $30, $40 million. So one, as time goes on, most people did not know that they were signing up for a booster shot every year. And it's not going to work out well for them. And I'll tell you what, the only reason, and you could research this yourself, those numbers that they tell you, at first I was like, holy crap, those are high. I'm like, I wonder if that's true. It doesn't sound right, but I would wonder how they lied about it. They said something about the hospitalization, 90-something% are unvaccinated. What they didn't tell you, if you look up their data, they're doing it in some cases since January. So they're taking the data from the whole year, and half or a majority of the year, most people weren't vaccinated because it wasn't even available to everybody at that point. And as January, February, March, April, May, more and more people got vaccinated. So they're taking all that data when people weren't vaccinated and saying all these people who are hospitalized are 75, 95%, whatever it is. And you'll see in a year or 2 years, once people get the vaccine and they don't have the ability to do that anymore, the data is not going to be like that. It's not going to be what Ron DeSantis says. It's not going to be what Donald Trump says. And they're going to have to report what's really going on and how much of them, separate who had it and who didn't, as far as, do you get what I'm saying? If they say, well, 95% is on, well, does that include the 4 or 5 months where people didn't even have access to it yet or didn't get it yet? That's what they're doing. And I want to read something real quick. This is from New York Times today. Let me find it real quick. This is New York Times today. They did a thing on Israel. It says, Israel, once the model for beating COVID, faces a new surge of infections. And this is, listen, I know Facebook, they got their censors watching. This is straight out of New York Times. They said, unlike previous epicenters of infection in Israel's crowded, less vaccinated, ultra-Orthodox communities, this scourge primarily took hold in well-vaccinated, middle-class suburbs. So Israel, they're way more honest. Say what you want about Israel or the UK, but the data out of Israel is way more accurate and way more honest. They don't seem to be lying as much as America, or at least like scourging the numbers. So they're admitting, because they have 60% of their population fully vaccinated, it's not just the Orthodox unvaccinated community that's getting sick. It's also the vaccinated. New York Times admits that. In America, they're not telling the truth about that yet. And when a year passes by, they're not going to have the option to not do that anymore, and it's all going to come out. So those 2 things, not everyone's going to want the booster all the time. This is going to fold. I think this is going to fold. I think Trump is going to probably be the fall guy for it. Why wouldn't he be? He set himself up as the father of the vaccines. They're going to have no problem taking this and saying, well, Trump rushed us. I would not be shocked. I don't know that that's going to happen, but if that happens, that would be so embarrassing for him, but we'll see what happens. Let's read a few comments. Someone said Trump was too worried about everyone liking him. It's hard to analyze why he did what he did, but I think, that's a possibility. Overall, it's our job with politicians to just ask them the real questions. Thank God for Maria Bartiromo. No one wants to ask this guy a question. She's the first one who challenged him in like a year. And listen, I think if you looked at Fox News and CNN and MSNBC, I think liberal media is by far worse. I think liberal media is insane. But if you want to be honest, Tucker's good and he does some good stuff, but like conservative media tends to do the same thing with people they like. They just kind of ride their coattails, right? So with Trump, they treat him like state media, like no one asks him a question. Biden, every now and then somebody in ABC asks him a question. A lot of times they're just softballing him. But, Republicans with Trump, like on Bongino, he could have asked him. No, nobody wants to ask Trump. So thank God Maria Bartiromo asked him that question. We would have never known that he literally doesn't care like that. I knew that, but I think it's more clear now. Someone said Trump was doing what he was advised to do. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I don't want to have the same conversation over and over. So on one hand, everybody loves Trump because he's this leader, right? He's a leader. Trump is leading. He doesn't listen to anybody. He doesn't take their money. He's the top dog. He's an alpha. He doesn't, but then it's like when he flops, they're like, oh, he was if he's not leading himself, he's not worth following. If you think Trump got fooled by his advisors, he's not a good leader. He's someone who doesn't even know where he's going. And that's clear every time he talks. Either he's a liar, he's losing his mind because he's getting older, or he's not a good person, or he got fooled. I mean, these are all options, but at the end of the day, all of these are horrible qualities to follow in somebody. If he's a fool, a liar, a bad person, like at best comes to best, he's a fool. That's what you're saying. He's a foolish man who gets... How come I don't get fooled by my advice? I don't have advisors. Trump doesn't have advisors. He talks shit to everybody he works with. He gives them a thumbs up, and then when they screw up, he throws them under the bus. He put Milley in a position and loved him, and then when Milley screwed up, he said, F Milley, I knew he was trash anyway, but I put him there. It's like, dude, Trump is such a selfish guy, and he's such a good salesman that I'm starting to come to the conclusion, listening to him talk about people, I'm starting to come to the conclusion he's just like a smooth talking car salesman. So it's like he makes all these mistakes, but as soon as he makes a mistake, he doesn't want to take any accountability as a leader. So he throws anybody under the bus. So it's like, I'm the alpha dog, but then when something happens, I'm not the alpha dog. It's his fault. Mike Pence, he did the election. There's a lot of things going on with the election. Mike Pence on January 6th, like, bro, that's a selfish Hail Mary, desperately hoping something changes when your lawyers fell through and your real plan of winning the election in the courtroom didn't work out. He'll do that constantly, where it's like, even with Steve Bannon, I'm not saying Steve Bannon's perfect, but Steve Bannon helped Trump win the election. He kicks him out. He's sloppy. He's disgusting. Bro, Trump has no problem throwing people to the curb. But I want to say this too. I listened to Ann Coulter on Twitter. I'm not saying Ann Coulter's like really worth listening to or that great, but apparently she's claiming that she met with Trump one time because someone was saying something. And she was like, I don't talk about stuff a lot, but she's like, I did meet with Trump once because, say what you want about Ann Coulter. She's like super conservative and has like a hardline stance on immigration and work visas. That's kind of her thing. And she claims that Trump was cursing at her so loud that you could hear it across the White House because she was trying to tell Trump, you ran on this platform of America First for American workers, and you're not doing it. And she says that he was screaming at her saying, we need low-wage workers. We need low-wage workers. And I believe her because I've seen Trump do this on Laura Ingraham. I watched him on Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham said she did a great job. She said, hey, Trump, you campaigned on, American workers first, but you're bringing all these low-wage tech workers on H-1B visas, and the wages are stagnant because you're not hiring American workers. You're going for the cheap labor. And he starts doing his like vaccine sales pitch where he's such a good he's such a likable guy. I watched him 2 years ago when I liked him lie through his teeth to push an agenda that most of his base doesn't believe in. So I think Ann Coulter's probably telling the truth that she was like, he sounded like Paul Ryan. So he does this great job. I'm draining the swamp, puts a bunch of swamp people, and I'm fighting this like and then he knows how to just maneuver. Like, he's a great politician. He's a great businessman. But as far as like who people thought he was, I think it's becoming more and more clear that he wasn't. I'm gonna play this clip of like him talking about Milley. It's really funny, but at the same time, it reminds me of like a kindergartner. Like, just listen to this. This is Trump talking about hiring General Milley, because this critical race theory military general that everybody hates on the right wing, he was hired by Donald Trump. Obama didn't put him in, Trump did. So they asked Trump about the general. He put it, listen to his response. He's like a WWE character. It's hilarious, but I don't know. I used to look at him like, wow, he's really crushing it. Now he just reminds me of like an actor. Listen.
This afternoon, I saw General Milley and Secretary Austin. And I want to ask you about General Milley. Of course, I was taken aback big time when he apologized for that walk across the street with you. The apology seems to be very inappropriate. Now I'm reading some of these books from some journalists down there in Washington, D.C. There are a lot of problems in these books. But one thing that comes through, General Milley may have been actively working to sabotage your administration. It comes through, and he was not working very well. He may have been colluding with the Democrats. Did you have that sense?
So he was recommended by people that I didn't think much of, and he was also recommended by a couple of people, and that I thought were just absolutely terrible.
All right, so before we go on, I'm gonna run it back. He said, "How did you pick General Milley?" And Trump said, "A few people that were awful and people that are terrible introduced him to me." So, like, why would he? Like, this is his thought process. He's just like, he was introduced to me by people who were terrible. It's like, and that got the job. He's hilarious.
So he was recommended by people that I didn't think much of, and he was also recommended by a couple of people, and that I thought were just absolutely terrible. And I decided, and Mattis, I call him the world's most overrated general. Mattis hated him. I figured, based on the fact that I thought very little of Mattis. We did a great job without Mattis. Once I got rid of Mattis, we took over, we knocked out ISIS and everything else. I said, if he hates Milley that much, maybe the guy will be all right. That's the one that a lot of people were recommending, but a lot of people didn't like him at the time. And I found him to be very average or less than average. I will say this.
All right, so we'll go back. So this is Trump's apparent thought process when he hires General Milley. Well, he was introduced to me by people I didn't think much of, and other people who were just horrible people. And he's an average guy who I didn't like, and another guy that I don't like didn't like him. So I thought, since he doesn't like, it's like, is this like opposite day? Is this like kindergarten? Like, we're just like, well, I'm going to do the opposite of somebody I don't like. Like, all right, let's keep listening.
And that I thought were just absolutely terrible. And were recommending, but a lot of people were very average, that had been burned down almost. If they didn't have the fireproofing, which was just put up, it was literally so amazing, because that church was built at the same time as the White House. So they went up together. And when he went and took that walk, and then he apologized because the radical left started getting on him, I realized I had a loser, and I paid very little respect to him. He wasn't very good. So I am not a fan of his. I realized somewhere.
It's like a reality show. He's like, he was a loser. I didn't like him. People who introduced me to him sucked. I gave him a job because somebody else I didn't like him. So I figured if he doesn't like him, I might like him, even though I don't like him. Yes, 5D chess. That's why you gotta hallucinate some made up fantasy world in order to still like justify the stuff. You got to be like, no. Nikola Tesla, JFK Sr., trust me, there's big boats underwater, over water, Space Force. It's like, that's the only way to like justify this stuff for too long. Like, you have to live in a fake world. Someone said, even though he also bowed to the radical left all 2020, I'm starting to realize the more I listen to Trump, like it's really the vaccine stuff, but his recent interviews where I'm really listening to him and I'm like hearing how he says certain things. And I'm like, he is a amazing salesman. Amazing. He can sell you a pile of shit and tell you that is literally the greatest thing ever. And, you know, survival of the fittest style, any mistake he's ever made, he just finds somebody to scapegoat. Like, he wants you to believe that he's this leader that's in charge of everyone and just like total alpha, takes no orders from anybody. But then every time he messes up, he throws somebody under the bus, or people say that his advisors led him wrong. He is an excellent politician, fantastic politician, perfect fit. Semper Fi, awesome hot sauce said, I bought a used Rolls Royce from Trump on OfferUp. He pulled up in a Pinto hatchback. Oh my gosh. ZM said, I don't think he's a shill. I just think he doesn't care about anything other than his image and wants instant gratification. Doesn't realize how he'll be seen in 10 years. Someone said, Trump influencers everywhere need to tell the truth, even if it's about Trump. Most of these accounts like Donaldo Trumpo, Cat Turd, and the Q accounts don't agree with the mandates, but they lie for him. Yeah, they've become propaganda accounts. Cat Turd is funny. El Dondo Trumpo's pretty funny. But I've been watching their posts too. That they're propaganda. They make people and brainwash people to believe he's this superhero standing on a cliff just waiting to save America, when in reality, if you listen to him, he literally is just selling a vaccine, and he literally doesn't care about vaccine mandates. He had 2 minutes to answer, and he said literally nothing about them, actually spoke against protesters, said if he was president, they wouldn't be there, and he thinks that people aren't getting the vaccine because Joe Biden's the president. That's such a lie. Either he's a liar. People are not getting the vaccine because of Joe Biden. People have made decisions that they don't want it, and it's being forced down our throat. That's what's happening in this country, Donald Trump. That's the question she asked you. People aren't rejecting the vaccine because Joe Biden's in office. Either Donald Trump is a total liar, either he's a complete fraud, either he's just like losing his mind or something, or he's like an egomaniac who cares about himself so much and nothing else matters except for his image, except he's kind of like goofy where he's making the vaccine like his shining accomplishment, and he wants people to believe that he saved 100 million lives when it's not true, that the vaccine has immunity for years when they're admitting that's not true, and he can't let go of it. If you listen to what he said about the boosters, I'm going to play it. This is probably the greatest thing that he said in the last 3 years. He actually made a great booster. I mean, he thinks that they're just kind of doing it for money. I'm going to play the clip, but then listen to what he says at the end, because it's like on one hand, he's doing something good and saying that the booster might just be like a money scheme. But if you listen to his thought process, he's not saying the booster's a money scheme because he cares about you. He's not saying the booster's a money scheme because he cares about vaccine passports. He's not saying the booster's a money scheme because he cares about Trump supporters. He thinks the booster's a scheme because he thinks it infringes on his super product that lasts forever. And the booster shot is a threat to that because the booster shot is proving that it doesn't last that long, but he wants it to last that long. He's not on your side only unless he is by mistake. Like, he's not this leader fighting for you. He is like an egomaniac. And the more he talks, I'm like, dude, I mean, I knew he was headstrong for a while, but he's getting worse. I mean, this is worse than what he was doing the first 3 years. But this is, listen to it's good, but listen to the thought process.
I still come back to the idea of a booster shot. I mean, yes, you're right. The
Well, that
vaccines
sounds
work.
to me
We've
like a
seen
money
that.
making. That sounds. You know what? That sounds to me like a money making operation for Pfizer. Okay, think of the money involved.
Get
An
a
extra
booster.
shot. That's tens of billions of dollars. How good a business is that? If you're a pure businessman, you say, you know what? Let's give them another shot. That's another $10 billion of money coming in. The whole thing is just crazy. It doesn't. You wouldn't think you would.
All right, so that's the first half of the interview. I agree. That's the best thing he said in a year. He said, that's a lot of money for Pfizer. Dude, that's what Operation Warp Speed was. That's what you did. You gave them a lot of money too. You think it's just a booster shot? But listen to the second half of the interview. He explains why he doesn't like the booster. It's not because he actually cares. It's because it threatens his legacy of having a world-saving vaccine that works without a booster. This guy's hilarious.
You wouldn't think you would need a booster. You know, when these first came out, they were good for life. Then they were good for a year or two, and I could see the writing on the wall. I could see the dollar signs in their eyes of that guy that runs Pfizer. You know, the guy that announced the day after the election that he had the vaccine. But we knew that, and I knew that.
Yeah,
and the people
he
knew that.
announced it November 9th. You're right.
So he says at first they said it was going to last for life, and then it was 2 years, a year. They did it after the election. You know, he's always thinking about himself, like, oh, they did that despite me. My life-saving vaccine. Like, I'm glad that he said that, but it's like he literally doesn't care about anybody. He's just like, oh man, he's like, it's a lot of money for Pfizer. It is, but that's what Operation Warp Speed was. He already made so much money for Pfizer. If they never did another booster shot, Trump has made them so much money. So yeah, booster shots, money, that's what you did too, dude. And when you give them money and give them all this power, they take more. They've been an out of control industry already. While they're pushing a Johnson & Johnson shot to the public, Johnson & Johnson is settling a multi-billion-dollar opioid case. Like you can't make this shit up. So it's like they've been overstepping. He just realized it because the booster. ZM said, I found out when they say 99% of the deaths are unV'd, they count the deaths when hardly anyone was V'd. Yeah, I explained that earlier, ZM, exactly. That's why I said in a year, those numbers are going to change because they're not going to be able to do that anymore. All right, I'll read a few more and then I'm going to take off. I'm going to try to do this into like another, I'm going to try to do a smaller video and put it on Instagram so people can see this. Let me see. I'm going to read this. Linda said, seems like a reasonable comment that disagrees. Linda said, I don't agree with you at all. He does care about this country. Obviously, you're a plant down him, make him look bad, and he's not bad. Linda, see, this is where you guys get carried away. If you can't make your point without lying about me, my whole life, my history checks out, my bank account, my statements check out. You can't cope with what I'm saying, so you have to make 100% lie about me and say I'm a plant. Who planted me? Did God plant me here? Am I a radish plant? I'm going to grow into a flower. I'm not a plant. You just can't handle the truth. Trump took $1 million from Pfizer. Trump took all the money. Listen to this and does it take a plant? Does somebody need to plant me to have a brain to listen to what he says?
Go into certain stores. Your thoughts.
Stop yapping for 2 seconds. See, this is when I start agreeing with Afghanistan. It's like, oh, we need to go there and put a bunch of women on billboards. It's like, why? So we can have Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, and this lady yapping at me instead of listening. It's like, you know.
Here we are with these new mask mandates coming back. And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend a third shot for the fully vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
I just want to play the first part real quick, Linda, because she talks about the vaccine passport. Hold on.
If we're going to be living in fear until the midterm elections so that mail-in ballots can be the standard, I want to get your take on needing proof to go into restaurants, needing proof of the vaccine.
So she asked him about the proof of vaccination. It's the biggest thing facing. Listen to what he says. She's asking him about vaccine passports.
The vaccines weren't supposed to happen.
Booster shot.
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation.
If you think Donald Trump's Operation Warp Speed saves 100 million lives, you're a fool. If you don't believe him and think he's lying, then he's lying. So acknowledge that. Either you think he saved 100 million lives with his Operation Warp Speed, or you know he lies and you don't say anything.
Like in 1917, I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration.
Hey, Donald Trump, what do you think about vaccine passports? Our country's now suffering authoritarian vaccine passports. Oh, the vaccine? I did it. Yeah, I'm proud of it. 100 million people saved. I got the vaccine. Yeah, I got it. If I was president, everyone would get it. The only reason people aren't getting it is because Biden's in presidency. If I was president, there would be no protesters. If that's an acceptable answer from a leader, you're a plant. You know where you're a plant from? Not any sort of agency. You're a plant from the dum-dum tree, okay? The dum-dum tree dropped you in a seed and you're stuck in the ground and you're a dummy. So that's what type of plant you are. If that's an acceptable answer to you, someone said Trump was supposed to be president again on August 13th. Mike Lindell can't stop lying about that. Do you want me to play the clip? This is why people can't think straight. They're following a pillow salesman who literally sells pillows and a vaccine salesman, Donald Trump. I'm going to play the clip of Mike Lindell, but I have to say, someone had told me that InfoWars had posted a little clip of my video or something, so I watched it the other day. Alex Jones is interviewing Mike Lindell. It's hilarious. Okay, let me walk you through this because it's funny. So Alex Jones admits that the MyPillow guy is like funding InfoWars now, and apparently like Mike Lindell is like giving Alex Jones money or something. Even though Alex admitted that, he still clowned Mike Lindell because even as wild as Alex is, he knows Mike Lindell is kind of a goofball and doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. So even though Alex is getting paid by Mike Lindell, he's still kind of making fun of him. And Mike Lindell comes on, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to listen to what happened at the Cyber Symposium because I didn't watch it. And I like Mike Lindell, although I think he's a little goofy. He means well. So I'm listening to Mike Lindell on Alex Jones for like 20 minutes because I'm like, listen, I want to hear exactly what he has to say. He is like a total, like, he sounds like a schizo, like a friend that's wasted that just screams at you. I listened for 20 minutes. I'm like, this dude does not know what he's talking about. I know that he has good evidence and stuff, but he's like, the proof is that I got attacked. And he's like screaming, like, bro, this guy is such a joke. He's such a joke that Alex even has to like give like a disclaimer when he comes on because he knows that Mike is just going to spout off whatever he wants and isn't just going to stick to the facts that Mike has. I have the video of Mike saying that he said Trump's going to be back in office in August. Half of these theories are either coming from QAnon or Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell is the new QAnon. He mixes real information and true stuff with a bunch of like fake predictions, like a phony pastor. And literally people think he's like the return of Christ. It's like, if these are your leaders, you're going like if Donald Trump, the vaccine salesman who says if he was president, you would have got the vaccine. Donald Trump, the vaccine salesman who said Joe Biden's responsible for the unvaccinated because Donald Trump would have stopped protesters. Why would he want protesters to be stopped if he was president? You guys not listening to these people? You're following a vaccine salesman or a pillow salesman. Someone said, if you're making fun of Mike Lindell as a Christian guy who doesn't float the boat, listen to what he said. I'm not making fun of him. I'm just telling you what he's doing. Listen to what he said in January and then after January when he was wrong. Listen, I have the two clips back to back.
100% Donald Trump is going to be your president the next 4 years.
So he said he was on a plane. Everybody trusts Mike Lindell because he's this authoritative figure. He's on a plane after he visits Trump or whatever. And he tells people after he visited Trump, I'm 100% sure Trump's going to be in the White House. He lied about that. And then after people asked him about it, he then made up a new lie and said that Trump is going to return to office in August. Listen to him. He's like a fake pastor. Just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean the pastor who says the apocalypse is coming on March 4th, it doesn't mean he's a good guy or a moral guy. It means he's a liar. God doesn't like false prophets. I'm not trying to compare my life to Mike's, but I'm just saying, being a Christian doesn't give you the right to brainwash millions of Trump supporters into being useless, like, morons. Like that's not Christ-like. He's got to stop being a false prophet.
100% Donald Trump is going to be your president the next 4 years.
Hang on a second.
Donald Trump will be back in office in August.
He said Donald Trump will be back in office in August. He's the new QAnon. He takes a bunch of real information that he has, mixes it with a bunch of fake theories and fake predictions to keep people on the edge of their seats, does a 72-hour symposium when it shouldn't take him more than 2-3 hours to do the evidence, and then has a sloppy event that ends it, and he's on Alex just, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to listen to what actually happened, and he's not making any sense. You guys, seriously, your leaders are a pillow salesman and a vaccine salesman. This is a bunk movement. This is why your movement is bound to fail. A pillow salesman who has no problem lying. I don't follow liars. Like, you guys don't. If you want to follow somebody because they're interesting and profound, that's cool. But they have this old saying: "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." Mike Lindell lied in January. Shame on him. Mike Lindell is lying in August. Shame on you. If you're going to, and same with Lin Wood. Lin Wood wore one of my hats. I loved it. I think me and Lin Wood would get along, but he's a sloppy poster. When he used to have Parler and stuff, he used to post fake articles all the time. He used to post an article about the Pope, and like, people looked up to Lin Wood and they look up to Mike Lindell. So they assume when Mike Lindell talks or when Lin Wood talks, they're telling them the truth. But the problem is they both love QAnon and they both are QAnon in a way. They mix real information and real stuff and real feelings with a bunch of fake articles and fake content or fake predictions, and scrambles the brain of MAGA. And that's why this movement is bunk right now. This is why it's a failed movement at the moment, because you're following a vaccine salesman who literally said if he was in office, he wouldn't have protesters, doesn't care that you have a vaccine passport, didn't even mention it. And a pillow salesman who every 6 months says Trump's going to be back in office, I promise. And he lies. Someone said, so who would you choose to lead the country? I mean, I don't follow fools. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, if I listen to people and if I catch them lying to me one time, I bring it to their attention if they have bad information. And if they lie 2, 3, 4 times, I come to the conclusion this account doesn't fact check. There's a lot of accounts on Twitter that I follow that just say whatever they want to say. And they say it with confidence. Like, they know that they're right about the information. They'll post fake articles all the time. So I don't know. I'm not a goofball and I'm not a fool. Everybody has an internet connection. Everybody has the ability to post. Everybody's not worth following. I don't know. Who would I vote for in the 2024 election? Depends who's running. Who do I follow in my life? I follow God, my intuition, my brain, and I don't know. I'm not a follower. So I don't follow Mike Lindell in circles and buy pillows all the time. And I don't follow the vaccine salesman when he lies. Like, is that, I don't know. Is there no one else to spend your time on? I don't know. Someone said DeSantis, Rand Paul, who? I like Rand Paul way better than DeSantis. DeSantis is a good politician, but he's a politician. I like Rand Paul a lot more. Rand Paul's a politician too, but I think he's got a better policies and soul. But, I'll have to see who runs. Here's the thing, though. The thing that I'm talking about is, if you're so easy to fool, you're going to keep being fooled. It doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. People have to stop being so foolish, That's really the only thing that's going to save you. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not acting like there's going to be a perfect person, but if people like obsess over being lied to, like, seriously, people who love Mike Lindell, they love Mike Lindell. Like, seriously, like, they're like QAnon attachment to Mike Lindell. Like, if you question Mike Lindell, it's like questioning the Bible to these people. And I'm not saying he's a terrible person. I'm not saying he doesn't have some good intel. I'm just saying he's super like manic when he talks. He constantly says things that are not 100% accurate. And he uses the terminology, I'm 100% accurate or I'm 100% sure, when he's literally not. And people say, well, prove. I've just showed you. He's constant. If I made one like, I don't do this and I don't like this. It's preference. Some people like that pastor who always lies to them or something. I'm not interested in it. When I say something, I don't make it. I won't say, in September, this will happen in September. I don't do that, because to me that's like stupid. Unless I'm sure. I don't like to be a liar, so I don't lie. The people that do that, they have no problem lying to you. So if someone says, I'm going to work to get Trump back into office, that's totally normal. If somebody says Trump will be back in office in January, I'm 100% sure, and they just had a meeting with Donald Trump, what does that tell you? It tells you they're a liar. Literally, they're using their position, their authority position. They know everybody's looking up to them. They know everybody thinks they have secret intel, and they use that to lie. And then once he lied about that, people looked at him and said, what's going on? And then he said, again, he made a new fake prediction. He said Trump is going to be back in office in August. I would never do. I'm not trying to like be mean, but like to me, that's a goofy liar. Like, I don't care that he sells pills. I don't care that he puts together 72 symposiums where he's getting hit and running in circles. Like, cool. Like, he talked to Dr. Shiva. That's awesome. There's great people there, but like, he's like a goofy leader to me. I'm sorry. Someone said he denied that one. I mean, I don't know. I'll play you the clip again. Like, after he already lied about a fake prediction of Trump and said he was 100% sure, he then went on Steve Bannon's report to make up another fake prediction and lie. And then after August, he's not going to say anything about it. And I'll tell you what, the whole reason he did his symposium, one of the reasons, yeah, he likes Trump. He wants to get him back. But also, he made a fake prediction. He lied to the Trump supporters and said Trump will be back in August. So where does he put his symposium? He puts it in the middle of August. You guys, I don't know who you are, etc., but I have friends, I meet people that literally look up to Mike Lindell like QAnon, and they actually believe that he's going to put Trump back into office this year. Why do they believe that? Because he says that. He's an authority figure who's running an operation, who's promising them that Trump's going to be back and saying he's 100% sure, and then he does that operation and knowing damn well that Trump's not coming back into office. It's not like he's ambitious and really he's just a liar. He's a goofy liar. I'm sorry. And it just looks stupid on everybody. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're following a vaccine salesman around the country who's literally telling you they don't even care about vaccine passports, like, what type of movement is that? And if you look up to this guy, like, he just keeps lying to you, and he's the new Q. Seriously. People who love Mike, that's all they think about. That's all they know. They don't want to hear about vaccine. They don't want to hear about this. They want to hear about Mike Lindell saving the country by putting Donald Trump into office. It's never going to happen. And even if it did happen, Trump isn't going to help you. What part? You get what I'm saying? Mike Lindell's whole thing is promising people that Trump's going to save the world from Biden. He's going to come back in office. Not only is it not going to happen, but even if Trump got back into office, that doesn't solve our problems. What part of 2020 did you not realize? And that's the problem with conservatives. We were this movement, I thought, maybe I was wrong, that was able to self-reflect and actually be like self-aware and learn and evolve. But 2020, everybody turned into a liar. Nobody wanted to say what was happening. Nobody wanted to say, like, it wasn't a Democrat operation. You know how many times it was the Democrats and the Republicans. That's who locked down. Maybe Kristi Noem didn't lock down. Besides that, every Republican and every Democrat locked down. Every Republican and every Democrat printed the money. Every Republican and every Democrat extended it. And Trump was the biggest promoter of the extended lockdown. He even went as far as saying Sweden made a huge mistake. He kept saying that at his rallies months later. He's a liar. He's a vaccine salesman, and he sold his base communism. People just didn't realize it because they love Trump so much. They weren't listening to what he was saying. He gave them the big 1-2. He turned them saying, we'll never be a socialist nation. And then he turned it into a socialist nation. And then he said, well, don't be like Sweden. Don't not have a mask mandate. Don't not have a lockdown, because that's what they did. He wanted us to have those. People don't even pay attention. So how is Mike Lindell going to save you when all of this happened in 2020? Mike Lindell is another kind of like Trumpy character. He loves the attention. He loves being the figure, but he's like a manic, guy who I listen to him for 20 minutes and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, listen, I actually agree with Mike Lindell. I actually think that something fishy happened, and I'm hoping that he can really prove it to me. And I'm listening to him talk for 30 minutes and I leave it thinking he sounds like a psychopath. And I have every reason to want to agree with him. He made Alex Jones sound like, the Dalai Lama. Like, that's how weird it was. And Alex was like embarrassed to have him on. Like, you know how crazy Alex Jones is. Alex was like embarrassed to have him on, but was kind of like hinting towards, he was funding InfoWars, like the pillow guy. So he was like, I'm sorry, he's like, it was a sloppy event. It ended in like, I don't know what happened at the event, but Alex was like, he's like, I'm sorry. Like, he was like making excuses for Mike. It was weird. I was like, dude, I don't see what you guys see. I know he's nice, but I think what people see in Mike Lindell is he's telling people that like Trump what they want to hear. He's telling people what they want to hear. That's why people like him. It's not because they think he's 100% accurate. He's like the QAnon. You could say, hey, guys, both parties are taking big pharma money and both parties locked down. We're going to have to really figure this out and deal with the election stuff. That's the truth. People don't like the truth. If you're a Trump supporter, you want to hear the election was rigged. There's no other thing to it. Trump will save the world. And if he got back into office, maybe it'll happen in August or January. Everything will, we'll make America great again. It sounds good to people who don't want to face the truth. That's why people like him. Someone said 1,500 views and dropping. Here's the thing. When I'm live, it always goes down on Facebook and sometimes it goes up on YouTube. That's not a phenomenon. I've been here for 2 hours. I mean, when I end this live stream, it's going to have 100,000 views on Facebook. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I have 1,500 people after 2 hours of ranting. That's not like bad. That's phenomenal. You'll see how many views this has. Someone said Mike Lindell loves Trump. He truly believes he's the best president he's ever had. Mike Lindell is like these Trump propaganda accounts, though. If I sat down with an interview of Mike Lindell and I asked him the question about Trump, he wouldn't know what to say because he's like, Trump's the best. Trump's going to save me. Trump's here. Like, he's like a Q tard. He's the one who fell for the Q stuff all the time. Him, Lynn Wood, they loved the Q stuff. Why? Because it told them what they wanted to believe. So during the lockdown and all last year, everybody's running circles instead of like paying attention. Yeah, I'm sure he loves Trump. That's so nice of him. But, at a certain point, he's got to stop lying and making up dates. He can do his job without duping millions of boomers into thinking that Trump is coming back in August. He doesn't say, I'm going to work my hardest to get Trump back. He doesn't say, I'm pretty sure. He says, I'm 100% sure. Trust me, Trump's coming back. He's like a false prophet. Someone said, bye. You guys act like I care. Seriously. Someone said, I used to love you anonymously, but you lost. I think you lost it. You're following people who literally lost it. You act like I care. Like, oh my God. I mean, I was with you when you guys don't want to hear the truth. You want to hear a liar. You like people who lie. The whole thing of the QAnon was, what's happening? Yeah. Well, let's just pretend that everybody's going to save your life and the military is going to save you because boomers love that. And I'm not trying to pick on people because they're age group, but God forbid you guys wake up and face all the issues happening in our country. It's like kryptonite to you. You follow around Mike Lindell and QAnon and Lynn Wood because they keep telling you what you want to hear. And they keep putting a carrot in front of your face and you're like, and you're going to be running in circles because they're not leading you anywhere. I'm trying to tell you that. God forbid you face the truth, folks. You're like, oh man, that's Mike Lindell. He puts a little carrot in front of your head. That's QAnon. That's all these people. They put same with Trump. They put a little carrot in front of your head. You're like, anomaly, you've lost your mind. We're almost there. This is them in 2017. I'm like, hey guys, are you paying attention? Like, oh, anomaly, we're gonna arrest the pedophile soon. I'm like, you don't understand what's happening. There's someone on your back with a stick holding a carrot in front of your face. So the more you run, the carrot moves with you. You're never going to get the carrot. It's like being a hamster on a wheel. That's you guys. So they tell me, the pedophiles are going to get arrested in 2019. 2019 happens, bump stock laws, speech laws. I'm like, actually, they're selling out the Constitution, guys. No, Trump arrested pedophiles too. And then it's like 2020 lockdown. I'm like, hey guys, the lockdown, we should probably stand up against it. Oh, no, the lockdown's good. The lockdown's going to arrest the Vatican, the pedophiles. And then it's like, okay, that didn't happen. Then it's like the election. I'm like, hey guys, we should probably pay attention to our country. Like they're both parties are scamming us. Oh no, just wait till the election, anomaly. We're going to beat the deep state on November. And then November comes along and the election magically lasts forever. And they're like, just wait till January. And I'm thinking to myself, holy crap. These Trump supporters will not listen and pay attention. Our country's being taken over while Trump's in office. Biden's not even here, and our country's under a lockdown, and nobody's paying attention. Anomaly, you don't know what you're talking about. I listen to Mike Lindell. He says that Trump's going to be back on January 6th. Anomaly, are you going to go to the January 6th Capitol event? I'm going. No, I'm not going. Because Trump's a vaccine salesman. Look at his Twitter. Moderna, Pfizer, Moderna. I'm the best. I'm a vaccine salesman. Rally troops, come to the Capitol for the wild protest. Moderna. I'm not going. Anomaly, you don't understand. people I know literally thought Trump was going to overturn the election. I'm like, he's not overturning the election on January 6th. Anomaly, you don't understand. There's a law that Abraham Lincoln used that Mike Pence can use to overturn the election. You think Mike Pence can overturn the election? How in the world can Mike Pence do anything? He could send the electors back. No one's done that in 200 years. And if he sent them back, he'd send them back to where they already came from. These people are lying to you. I told you that. You think, oh, the Pennsylvania electorates send in the electorates and then they have a change of heart? They didn't have a change of heart. They got harassed by a bunch of Trump supporters who told them, you guys suck. You should have kept the electorates. And then they lied and were like, oh, yeah, if you give the electorates back, we'll really change it this time. You're just getting fucking played. Anyway. Oh, no, Anomaly, we're going to go to the Capitol event. Yeah, and then everybody gets set up by the FBI and everybody gets arrested and interrogated. Oh, yeah, Trump really led you to the promised land and Lynn Wood and the Patriots. I'm not blaming them particularly, but I'm just saying they led you to an event that was a total setup, and I didn't go. Thank God. I'm not blaming Trump or Lynn Wood. I'm just saying they're like, it's really going to happen, Patriots. And, they're like, oh, man, Mike Pence is really in for it. And I'm like, I get that you guys don't like Mike Pence, but like you're leading people to believe he's coming back. And then literally after January 6th happened, I'm like, are we going to pay attention now? Because I like these people, but are we going to pay attention? And literally people are carrying a stick and they're like, Anomaly, Trump's going to come back in January 20th. And I said to people, I'm like, why the hell would Trump come back in January 20th? It's because these people can't face reality and they have to make up a freaking Ninja Turtle game in their head. And this is what Mike Lindell was saying after January 6th.
100% Donald Trump is going to be your president the next 4 years.
He said 100% Donald Trump's going to be the president. So all these people that are mad were like, well, Mike Lindell says so. And then everybody gets set up. The Patriot Act starts getting used on patriots. Biden's in office. So then I'm like, hey, can we finally talk about the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room is both parties locked down in 2020. Both parties are selling the jabby. Both parties are funneling the PCR tests everywhere. Both parties are setting up Anomaly. It's not time to talk about it now. We're going to overturn the election with Mike Lindell in August. I'm like, why do you think Trump's coming back in August? Why the hell would he come back in August? Because Mike Lindell keeps lying to people. Listen.
4 years.
Hang on a second.
Donald Trump will be back in office in August.
That's Mike Lindell saying Donald Trump will be back in office in August. So here, that's the Trump supporters, the Q supporters, the Lindell supporters. You guys are just useful idiots running in circles with a carrot on your head. I'm trying to tell you, the reason a carrot's in front of your face is not because you're about to get the deep state and the pedophiles. It's because someone's sitting on your back with a stick with a string on it with a carrot on the front. Someone said I'm a boomer. I agree with you. I love the boomers. I just like making fun of boomers. Like I like to make fun of hipster millennials sometimes. Someone said, I thought you liked Trump. Do you guys listen? Just listen. This isn't freaking middle school. Johnny likes Susie. Oh my God, Becky likes Jill. Oh my God, Jeremy has a crush on me. This isn't a sports game. Oh, I thought you were a Broncos fan. I mean, what about Elway? It's like sometimes Elway throws interceptions. I'm not going to act like he's throwing freaking, a touchdown every time. You guys, it's like WWE for you. Yeah, I like Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump, but he used to be a vaccine skeptic. Then he turned into a vaccine salesman. Then he got asked a question about vaccine passports, and he doesn't give a shit. So either you're going to wake up or you're going to be like that lady who says, Anomaly, you've really lost my mind. You've lost your mind. You're chasing a carrot for 4 years. Nobody listened to me in March. And I'll tell you what, all of these idiot accounts that cry about me, they were the same ones crying when I tried to warn them in March. I said, this lockdown, you're going to lose to mandatory vaccinations. All this is coming, authoritarian speech censorship, government mandated lockdowns. And they said, no, Lee, you lost your mind. This is just going to be 15 days to slow the spread. Donald Trump would never do that. Biden would do that. If Biden locked down, I'd never lock down. If Obama said 15 days to slow the spread, I'd be in the streets tomorrow. If it were Hillary Clinton doing 15 days to slow the spread, that would be a deep state lockdown. But this lockdown is Donald Trump. Donald Trump's in the White House, and he's going to fight Fauci. So I'm just going to stay in my house for 2 months, and I'm going to read QAnon comic books with my friend Jill. It's like that. Do you not get the whole scheme you guys keep falling for? A year and a half later, you think a pillow salesman's going to overturn the election, and I'm the crazy one? Get a grip, folks. You guys have become like controlled op. Morons. And I'm going to show you something real quick. I got to find it. I can't find the book, but I have it somewhere. It's a book about a Bolshevik defector who literally talked about the controlled ops scheme that the Bolsheviks did. There were a bunch of patriots in Russia who probably would have like stood up for themselves. I don't know, and like not got murdered or whatever. But, you know, the Bolsheviks did something called controlled op, and they ran an operation called Operation Trust. Does it sound familiar? Trust the plan. Just trust Mike Lindell. He's a Christian. I mean, he lied to me 4 times, but I mean, he'll never lie. It was called Operation Trust. And in Operation Trust, they told the nationalists or the non-communists that just trust the plan, patriots. Military generals are overthrowing the generals, and you can't see it. So just sit there and ignore the camps and the gulags and the Bolsheviks. Trust the plan, man. You know, there's a plan that you can't see of the military generals. It's the same thing QAnon did. It's the same thing that Mike Lindell does in a different way, but it's the same thing he falls for. It's the same thing that they're all doing with the militaries in control. It's literally a copy and paste controlled op from the Bolshevik Revolution. Because if you tell a bunch of people that someone's going to save them, they'll never do anything. That's what Donald Trump and Mike Lindell are. They're trying to convince you that Trump's going to get back into office. And if he does, that's going to be great. He's not coming back, at least in the next couple of years. He might run again. But even if he did, it doesn't matter because he was there in 2020 when they took everything away. And he keeps telling you on television how literal he cares. Hey, Trump, what about the vaccine passports? What about it? I sell the vaccines. The vaccines are great. If I was the president, there would be no protests. He's a horrible person, or he's a liar, or he doesn't give a shit about. Figure it out. You've lost your mind, Anomaly. I've been watching the Cyber Symposium. I stayed up for 74 hours straight. I didn't even see my family for 72 hours. I was just eating popcorn, sitting on the couch, watching Cyber Symposium. I mean, that guy, Mike Lindell, he's really got the goods, and he's really got it fast. I would say if the election is going to be overturned August 20th, 21st, and then August 21st passes November 5th. And it's like, it never ends. It's seriously like a parody. Like, time to look at the science, folks. The data out of Israel, okay? They got some good data. 60% vaccinated. Let's go. Don't worry, Facebook censors. We listen to the science here. And let me tell you about science. It's crazy. It's so fun. You just do what you're told. Get in line for the jab. Get your free fries. I love fries. There's nothing says healthy like, you know, getting free Shake Shack fries. I love my cheese fries. Oh, my God, they're so good. Oh, my God, I just got my double Moderna jab and I got my cheese fries. Oh, I feel so healthy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the government really loves me. Oh, yeah. Oh, the government's so good. It's so good to me. They give me free Moderna vaccines. I mean, does your government even care about you unless they give you free mRNA vaccines? I mean, that's a sign of true leadership. Water, they don't give a fuck. I mean, Flint, Michigan can just, you know, they could drink Gatorade for a couple months, whatever. You know, crime in St. Louis and Chicago. I mean, whatever. It'll work itself out. But let me tell you about Afghanistan. It's like, dude, you're better off in Kabul than you are in certain streets in St. Louis and Chicago. You got these conservatives who are like, man, we got to go to Kabul. We got to go to Kabul, damn it, and really show them how to, you know, do their pronouns properly because they're, you know, they believe in God. They pray 9 times a day. They don't just let their women run rampant. They don't, you know, they're not into sodomy. Like, God damn it. We got to go over there and really show them how to clean up. It's like, dude, you're probably better off being in Kabul than you are in the south side of Chicago. Like, we don't have the safest country all around, but whatever. Let's see, August 18th. Let's see, we got 5,883 cases. How many did we have last August 18th? Let's see, August 18th. We had 1,600. So, the science out of Israel is not really looking good for Trump. Trump's sweating. He's like, he's in the background, like he knows you guys are loving Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium. He's like, my vaccine. He's going to be 2 months. They're like, Trump. It's so clear that that's not true. He's like, my vaccine saved 100 million lives. I saved 100 million lives. You remember the Spanish flu? You remember the Spanish flu? I saved the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu killed 150, 100 million people. My vaccine, you could say I saved the world. I saved the world. The world's good. Who knows the world more than me? I'm the world salesman. I sell the world. I sell the vaccine. What about the governors? Oh, the governors. Oh, I love the governors. I'm like the king of the governors. It's like, he's not even good anymore at selling things. He used to be great. Now it's just like, so he's like a washed up car salesman. He's like, oh man, the vaccines. Oh, let me tell you about the vaccine. They're like, no. The passport, the vaccine passport, Donald Trump, your supporters, your nurses, they're being forced vaccinated and they don't want to be. Don't you have anything to say to them? Oh yeah, they should get vaccinated. I mean, my vaccine, I got vaccinated. I mean, did I save the world from the flu? Maybe. It's Biden's administration. I mean, Biden doesn't handle the flu good at all. But if I were in charge, there would be no protests. I mean, I was giving out 1 million a day. When I was in charge, there was no COVID. The Spanish flu, killed 100 million people. Me, I killed COVID. It's like he talks like a baby, and people still think this is like, oh man, he doesn't care. He's like telling you, I literally don't care. It's okay. Someone said convention of the states. We'll see what happens. Someone said Lawrence Kolikoff placed our financial failure to fund social mandates at 200 trillion. Our military, law enforcement, intel, and political system does not stand in some ambivalent neutral zone. Capish, babblish. I'm not sure what that meant, but I read it. Someone said Trump lives in Anomaly's head. No, I'm just a rational person. So I try to be effective. Like, you know, when I told the lockdown, I mean, luckily everybody just killed it and the story told itself, but I like to be effective. And when it comes to my country, I'm not delusional about Donald Trump. He's the most popular person in modern history. You could say what you want about him. He's way more popular than Joe Biden. He's the most popular figure in the world. In Australia, they're in lockdown. In UK, they're in some sort of weird lockdown. In Canada, the whole Western world is looking to Donald Trump for leadership, okay? Maybe they shouldn't be, but that's what they're doing. He doesn't live in my head. Millions of people in Australia are being hurt really badly. They're being abused. And they're looking for Donald Trump to say something. And so are we. And he's not saying shit. He doesn't live in my head. He's the most powerful leader in the world. He's got more of the conservative people than anybody else in the world. He's like a leader that he could change the world with just something that he says. And he's selling vaccines and literally poo-pooing protests as something that he would get rid of if he was in president. He's horrible. And you're horrible if you think that's okay. All right, I got one more comment and I got to go. Someone said Trump damaged the Canadian Conservative Party. I don't know much about it, but the same way that people slobber over Trump in America, it's all over the world. There's QAnon followers in Australia who are being locked down right now who think the pedophiles are getting arrested. They're like, ooh, look at the kangaroo hop. The kangaroo hop 3 times. That might be a little ignorant. I'm sorry, but you get what I'm saying. Like, they literally think Trump's going to save them in like a spacesuit. So it's like a worldwide phenomenon. Everybody's like looking to Trump as their savior, and he's literally just selling vaccines. They're like, maybe Trump's going to come down with the Space Force and save Australia. And he's like, literally, I don't care about you. And they're like, ooh, when he says he doesn't care, he means he really cares. And he's like, no. Like, let me make this clear. I sell vaccines. I love vaccines. I take it. You should take it. 100 million people with Spanish flu I saved. I don't protest. No, I wouldn't have them. I sold the vaccine. And they're like, oh, that's such like it's seriously like beyond Stockholm syndrome. It's very bizarre. Someone said people still looking up to Trump is because that's all they got to hope for. There's no one else. You lost if you're looking to a human for your savior. There's something called God, and it's there for a reason. There's something called yourself, your friends, your family, your community. Like, if your whole life revolves around Trump, you're bound to fail. I don't know what to tell people. Like, he did such a great job for so long, and I understand where for a while it seemed like he was going to be that guy who really drove it home. But it's like a weakness. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, if you want to survive, there's something called survival of the fittest. I'm not trying to be mean to people, but it's like that's just life. Like if you want to be the best at the NFL, you got to work out, you got to exercise. You can't just sit on the couch and hope that somebody throws you the ball. Like, do you want to be great or not? And that's how people used to think. And people used to work out and really strive to do things. And now America's a great country because if you come here with that mindset and you want to strive and do stuff, you can do it and you could be successful. And if you use the internet, you could use the internet and be successful. So America, we're a net sum of everybody we have. Everybody doesn't have to be a go-getter, but everybody's so lazy now and everybody wants Trump to save them. That's the problem. America's going to shit. It's like, if that's your end goal, and when it becomes clear, like when Ronald Reagan left office, did Republicans do this? I wasn't allowed. Were they like, Ronald Reagan's going to say, like, every president serves and every president leaves. Like when Bush left, were people clinging on to George Bush? Like, I get Trump was cooler, but Reagan was also pretty cool too. Like, this is like a weird thing. Like, you think Trump is like a teddy bear or something. Like, you got to grow up. It's like, even if he was there for 8 years, what, he's your whole life forever now? Seriously, people are in like a cult. It's going to be 30 years in the future, and they're going to be like, Donald Trump is meant to save me. It's like, people got to grow up in this country. Like, we're facing what we're facing. It is what it is. It's a call for people to do something about it. And that's just world history. Like, hundreds of years ago, it was raw survival of the fittest. Like, if you weren't sailing and if you didn't have guns and if you didn't do something, you weren't going to live. There was no like, oh, I thought Trump was going to save me. It's like, there was no Trump. People were sailing, people were fighting, people were bartering, people were doing deals and negotiations, and it was savage. And then we got domesticated. And now, people are so domesticated, they think that like everything's owed to them. I'm grateful for the 3 years that Trump gave us. I'm grateful for what he did give us. And if he fell short and now it's so clear that he's on the wrong side of the most important issue and it's horrible, like, he doesn't owe you anything. Like, I get it, but it's like, well, if we don't believe in Trump, then who do we believe in? Like, yourself? I don't know. Someone else? Like, I don't know, God, your family, like community, like anybody, literally, like, I don't know. People got to snap out of this though. It's really bad. It really is. And like he said, those accounts like Cat Turd and El Donaldo, I know they're meme accounts and I know they're funny, but seriously, they're a huge reason that people are brainwashed. Every time I block somebody on Twitter, I don't block people for disagreeing with me. I block them for being like brainwashed, like literally like just like slobbering, like I literally say something. I'm like, hey, here's the lobby donation. Like, and I'm he's my savior. He's gonna save. And like I click on their page, and every time it's like Charlie Kirk, like Cat Turd, like they have the same 6 people that they retweet all the time. And I'm starting to realize those people are brainwashing people. Seriously, like they're making these people think that Donald Trump is like a superhuman God savior that literally is. And like for over at least a year and a half, it's been so obvious that he's selling vaccines and he doesn't really care that much about what you care about. Cat Turd cares about that stuff. I care about it. El Donaldo cares about it. But the difference is I actually identify what's really going on, and they're constantly just pushing propaganda that he's like saving the world and he's so great and we miss him so much. Like, what part of 2020 did you guys not understand? He was there in 2020 and he put on a big spectacle. He didn't really have a plan to stop this stuff. He kind of helped usher it in. People can't face that. So it's like, I'm not trying to pick fights because trust me, I just want to be left alone, but we're getting brainwashed, not just on the left wing, the right wing, all these meme accounts telling people they're going to like save Afghanistan. Like, I'm reading the comments. It's a bunch of like delusional people now that are just as bad as Bush era Republicans. It's seriously that bad. Like, they foam at the mouth when you tell them the truth. Like, I'm like, you're not doing the right thing. What do you want? What do you CNN? What do you vote for Biden? What do you want Biden to put? And the reason they say that is because everybody they follow just says the same 3 things over and over. They're not even right about half the stuff they're saying, but they're just like, Biden bad, Trump good, Biden bad, Trump safe. Like, and I'm not saying these people are dumb. I'm saying these are smart people that have been brainwashed. Like, seriously, it's like, it's not just a one-party thing. And I had a whole, I had a whole experience of that during a debate. In some ways, I could have handled better, but I saw the type of people that are brainwashing them. It's not just these accounts. There's influencers that are so smooth, that are so well spoken, and their demeanor is likable, and they just sit and push propaganda. Like Styx Hexenhammer 666, when I debated him, people could say I got emotional or I was mean or whatever. Listen to the content of what we're saying. I'm up there telling the truth. He's up there convincing Trump supporters and libertarians that inflation happens instantaneously, and there's no way that printing $6 or $9 trillion could have added to inflation. It's like, that's not a libertarian or conservative statement. That's like a communist, socialist, psychotic statement that no one believes in the Libertarian Party. Yet he pretends to be a libertarian, and people believe him because his demeanor is so smooth. He's just a Trump propagandist. He's a pro-Trump propagandist. He's a communist who pretends to be a liberal, and he's a beta male who's got a bunch of conservatives fooled into thinking he's like some sort of smart guy. He's seriously one of the dumbest people I've ever talked to. Everything he said made literally no sense. I asked him, I was like, well, what about the CARES Act where they printed $2 trillion? And he said, if you think about it, it's just Trump giving you your money back. And people could say I lost it. Are people not paying attention? That's what communists and socialists say. When they take your money and they print a bunch of money and they do all this bullshit, they just say, oh, we're giving you money. That's a socialist. Oh, where are you getting the money from? If you're stealing my tax money, it's not free. You took our money. And if you're printing the money, you can't just print money. It's going to add to a supply, demand, and inflation. So whether they print money or take your tax money, they're not just giving you free money. When Trump gave you $600 and when Trump gave you $1,200, he's not just giving you free money. When everybody gets the same amount of money, inflation was always going to rise at that point. He sold out America. And Styx Hexenhammer's a libertarian trying to convince people of socialism and communism that it's just Trump handing you your own money. Oh, he's just handing you back tax dollars. First of all, that's not true. He printed it. But also, even if he's handing back tax dollars, just don't tax me. You want to that's a communist talking about. Oh, you want to save me money? Don't tax me 5, 10, 20, whatever, however many thousands of dollars I have to pay in taxes. I'm not even sure. That's how you don't take my money. You don't take tens of thousands of dollars from me and then give me back $600 and like, see, I just gave you your own money back. That's what communists do. That's what socialists do. That's what Trump supporters and libertarians with the mark of the beast are convincing people of. There's so many smooth actors in this Trump movement, and they've seriously become like propagandists. And I don't like to use that word lightly, but it's like, let me go to like El Donaldo Trump real quick. I just want to go because I know I might have blocked them. I don't know. Maybe not. El Donaldo. Where's that guy? Or like, it's just all like little one-liners, pro-Trump stuff, and people are like, man. Let me see. I mean, he's funny, I guess, but there's like nobody wants to say this stuff. All right, one more question. Someone said if by smooth you mean slimy and shitty, yeah, Dixon Hammer is smooth. It's just funny because I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I was like, I don't care if people don't like me personally. Like, it doesn't bother me, but I'm like, what I'm concerned about, I don't need to be more popular. People are like, there's only 1,500 people watching it. Like, trust me, I could care less. The part that creeped me out was the fact that so many people that were libertarian literally thought it was okay to print $9 million. That was the creepy part. Like, you could say I'm an asshole. You could say I was mean or emotional. Like, I'm not concerned about what you think about me. That's not what creeped me out. What creeped me out was how bad his points were and how many people that he brainwashed to think that communism was libertarianism. That was the scary part. Base Capone said there will be more people willing to take the third jab than there are people willing to take off the mask. We'll see. I think a lot of people will turn down the third jab, but I have no idea. Cowboy Bear, thank you for the super chat. Teresa, thank you. Someone said those aren't libertarians. Yeah, I know, but that's what I was explaining with the conservative accounts too, where it's like, you could say you're conservative, right? And I'm it's not a big competition. Like, oh, I'm so much more conservative, but like they're not thinking about what they're saying. The whole point of what we hated about the right wing, the left wing, is they don't think about what they say anymore. They just say what they're all saying, and they all do it to do it. That's how the left wing got so fake. It's because they know that comedy's funny, but they don't want to laugh because they're afraid to make fun of like a gay. Like I make a straight joke, everyone laughs. I make a gay joke, people are like, why are you so homophobic? It's like, you can't, what makes you above a joke when every race, every religion can be joked about? But in general, that's what made the left so bad. They're all in an echo chamber. They all say the same things, do the same things, and they don't even fact check each other, and they don't care if they're right. They just steamroll, and they're all wrong. The right wing is getting that bad. It really is, because a lot of these meme accounts and stuff, they don't want, who wants to be the Trump supporter that has a bunch of pro-Trump people that tells the truth about how he's doing something that they don't want him to do? They will get ridiculed. I've gotten threats from Trump supporters when I posted on a pro-Trump account. I just said something about Operation Warp Speed, and they were like, eat shit, kill yourself. And I'm like, dude, these people are brainwashed. So all of these accounts running it, I'm telling you, they're not stupid. They don't, it's not that they don't know what I'm saying is true. And I know this because I've spoken to certain people. They know what I'm saying is true. They don't want to lose their money. They don't want to lose their audience. They don't want to lose their comfortability. It's important for them to be comfortable and to be liked. So even if what they're doing is technically starting to be not beneficial, starting to be propaganda, starting to be flat out wrong and kind of just a sellout pitch, they don't care, because there are people who do, but I could just see the direction people are going. And I'm like the Afghanistan stuff, I'm like, these are terrible takes. Like there's a lot of good takes with Afghanistan because Joe Biden, I think, is sloppy, but telling them they need to put women on murals, like that's a terrible take. Like we are in no moral position to talk about what our murals do or how we exploit women and what we do to children. Like we need to look inward. All right, one more thing. Someone said the problem with the power is that it's very corrupting. It can be, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I guess power can corrupt, right? I think I don't know. I guess power that can corrupt, but to me, and hopefully I don't ever change, but I've had the opportunity in my lifetime. People might not believe this, but I've had meetings where they sat me down and told me, we want to sign you, but we want you to talk about women and drugs, women and weed. In my head, I would never do that. Like maybe I'm a rare breed or something, but I'm like, I would never do something I didn't morally believe. I would never sell a product I didn't believe in. You got people selling products all the time, and people are like, what do you say? I would never. I don't care if they gave me $10 million. I would seriously turn down a $10 million deal tomorrow if I didn't believe in the product. I would never sell something I didn't believe in. I would never accept money to do something that I didn't want to do, that I felt like was the wrong thing to do with music or with my stuff. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people will go the route of the money and the power. I get it, but that's where I can't really relate, in the sense of like, so many people say Trump was threatened. Trump was threatened. In some ways, maybe you're right. You know, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world, and that sucks. I feel for him. But my thought process, and maybe I'm just crazy, but he's 70 something years old. If you're not willing to die for your country at 70 something, you're not a good leader. I'm 31 years old. I have my prime I could still live through. I'm willing to die right now for what I believe. And I don't want to die. I don't think I'm going to. Everything's fine. But it's like, I would, if I had two options, you need to sell a vaccine that you don't believe in and say it saved 100 million lives, or sacrifice yourself. I'm sorry, but I would die. I would never do that. That's just, it's not even like an option in my head. Like I told people, I will literally starve to death before I join this beast system. I will never bow down to this product. I will never bow down to authoritarian, passports. If that happens and they say, get this jab or you can't eat, I would seriously rather die, starve, or try to survive with little resources. That's just the type of person I am. So if you tell me a 70-something-year-old guy got threatened, in my head, I'm like, I'm 31, and that's not even an excuse for me. What would you still like me if I came back and started just shilling propaganda tomorrow? And I like Anomaly. He just sold out because he got threatened. That's not an excuse. You should stop. If I sold out because I got threatened, I'm a pussy and I don't even deserve to be listened to. That's just my thought process. Maybe I'm crazy, but like, you can't threaten me into being a fraud. I'd be like, whatever you got, release it. Like, you know, if you don't do Satan's work, we're going to release these pictures. Or I'm like, release them. I would rather suffer the public fate of the mistakes I made than become a broken soul and a wicked messenger of, you know, something I didn't believe. Like, that's not even an option in my head. So when you guys make these excuses for other people, like, it doesn't make sense to me. I get it, but yeah, I get power corrupts for sure. But you know, what happened to people that had like a moral conscience? I don't know. Maybe I'm naive or something, but I thought at a certain point that there's people that would be willing to risk it all. You know, I think this might not be the best example, but Muhammad Ali risked his entire boxing career because he didn't want to go to war and he didn't believe in it and he didn't want to go kill people overseas. Overall, I would say he was right. That's not easy to do. Most boxers would just do it, just like they'll get an mRNA shot just to get in line. I'm not that breed. So when you guys make excuse for other people like that, I get it. Nobody wants to get hurt, but it's not even an option. Someone said, how do I get my hats? It's godblesshats.com, but I feel bad selling it now because this wasn't a sales pitch to that, but someone said it. It's in the link. You can find it somewhere. But in general, I don't know if more people thought like that. Like someone, I did an interview today and he said to me like, well, you'll see it in Red Pill America. Nice guy, great guy. He just said, what about the fact that, you know, if we didn't have a vaccine, we couldn't have got out of lockdown. And I'm like, if you think you need a vaccine to get out of a lockdown, you deserve to be in a lockdown. Like, I'm not pointing at him, but like if in your head, it's like, well, I got to be in this lockdown until I get a vaccine. You don't deserve to be free. Your freedom is not a negotiation tool with a vaccine. So, and if everybody thinks that, that's why we got locked down in the first place. That's the Conservative Party. But he was like, what about restaurants who had problems? Like my buddy, you know, he was on CNN. He's been on a lot. Tony from Basilicos in Huntington Beach. He never shut down for a single day. I mean, that's a real man. Me and him get along really well because he's like a real man. He's not a pussy. Excuse my language. Where it's like when we talk, we bond because it's like, he's like, dude, what's up with all these Trump supporters that like idol worship the guy but don't do anything? I'm like, dude, I don't know. He's like, they shouldn't wave Trump flags. They should wave American flags. And I was like, no, I agree. Like, it's become very culty. I love that guy because he never closed his business down. He never closed his restaurant down. It's not even an option in his head. Like when you're built like that, he's just like, I'm not listening to these people at all. And he's fine because he's a strong guy. Like, yeah, there's going to be consequences, but there's also going to be rewards. You know, that's everything in life. Sometimes people try to scare me. Aren't you afraid of saying this stuff? Aren't you afraid? I mean, there's pros and cons to what I do. The pros are I make my own schedule. The pros are I could go to the beach or on vacation whenever I really want. But I have a good work ethic. The pros are I'm pretty much living my dream. The cons are, yeah, it sucks sometimes being an entrepreneur. Sometimes the social pressure can be tough or whatever, but it's not like I'm living this hellish life because I'm telling the truth. That's not how life works. I just want to let people know any risk you take, there's also a reward, especially when you stand in truth and you do the right thing. I've had so many cool opportunities. I've got to go to professional sports events for free. I'm not even going to say what, but one of my favorite bands that I grew up on, to be honest, one of the biggest bands in the United States, they reached out to me and I'm going to go to that concert probably for free. I'm probably not going to say what it is, but one of my favorite bands, one of literally the biggest bands in the United States right now, you know, they like what I'm doing. So they're giving me free tickets. I didn't do it for the free tickets, but like people that are decent people connect with me, and the wicked people in the industry, they could go to hell. I don't really care what they think. So I don't want to be around them anyway. And that's the message I'm trying to say to other people as far as like Trump, whatever. Like, I don't know what to tell people about who to follow or who to trust, but when you do what's right, you attract other people who like that and you get rid of people who don't like that. It's been great for me. You know, anybody that doesn't like it, it's like, I don't need to be friends with a million people. So I think, you know, there's rewards. Tony from Basilicos, he's not living in millions of fines and he's so screwed. He's killing it. And he loves the fact that this happened because it made him from a restaurant owner to an American renegade, you know, like it's not like, oh my God, what's he going to do? Cause his business has to open. He kind of likes the challenge like that put him as like where he was, and it solidified his legacy in American history. Like that's the moment we're in. So as far as following Trump, or people got to really step up, you know, and people have to, if you're not going to step up, reward people when they do the right thing, and don't feel bad saying something when they do the wrong thing. If I came on here tomorrow and I said, hey, and you asked me, what do you think about vaccine passports, Anomaly? And I said, I sold the vaccine. I love the vaccine. If I was in a charge, there would be no protest. You should hate me. You shouldn't like me. You should push back against me, and you should call me out. I don't want you to like me because you liked my last stream or you liked my 2019 stuff. I would want you to treat me the same way that I treat Trump, because it's wicked what he said and it's horrible leadership what he said. So the fact that you give him a pass for that, it doesn't make you a loyal follower. It makes you complicit. That's just what it is. If I did the same thing as Trump, I don't want double standards. I don't want you to act like what I said is great. What he said sucks, and everybody should say it. The fact that they're not saying it, all these meme accounts, all these pro-Trump accounts, they're complicit in the evil. And all they have to do is try to make Afghanistan more liberal. It's like just they've become so wicked because all they talk about is the left. And that's, I understand I talk about a lot of people too, but I think that's really like the key. If you focus on the other side, you become that side. The left got terrible because they hated the right. The right is becoming garbage because they just hate on the left. That's cool, but we need to focus on ourselves. We're not who we think we are. Trump is certainly not who people think he is. And the people who are following him are not doing what they think they're doing. I want the same treatment if I said that. I don't want a handout. I don't want your sympathy because you love my old stuff. At this time in American history, for him to say that is seriously, every single person who follows him should be saying how disgraceful and terrible it is what he said, until he changes his tune. And he will change his tune because he likes to be liked like anybody. So it's like the reason he keeps doing this is because people act like his shit doesn't stink. And I'm sorry, his shit stinks worse than, in some cases, George Bush. I mean, he's getting pretty bad. Someone said, Anomaly, read this. Trump's campaign story. He told us he was a scorpion. Sorry, I can't read the whole thing, but thank you for the chat. Dialogue said, do what's right, not what's acceptable. Freedom is important, more than temporary safety. Yeah, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I do see a correlation, and I got to be nicer, but I see a correlation in people that get upset with me over certain things that I say, and there's people who are justified in it, but I see a correlation between that and people who are living vicariously through Trump, and it doesn't come from a place of strength. I say this before, but it's like people that will capitulate, people that will do mass testing, they'll do this, they'll do whatever they got to do. These are the people living vicariously through Trump. It's not like they're this loyal hero that they make themselves out to be, and they're such a good Trump supporter and I'm so bad. They don't want to do anything. Like, I really live this life. Like, they don't want to do anything. They want to follow all the rules, and they want to sit there and join in on this charade and then act like Trump is going to come and save their life. It's actually really selfish, and it's actually really counterproductive, because if everybody who supported Trump did what Tony did of Basilicos, everything would be like nothing would be the same. And I know everything's kind of back to normal in New York and the liberal cities suck, but it's on all of us. If he inspires you to be a freedom fighter, awesome. But if he inspires you to be like a professional PR team for him, and you're the type of person that'll do a test every week to keep your job, Trump's not going to help you, like that. And I'm not telling people not to do certain things, but I've said in other streams, like, there's multiple things that are keeping this going. Testing, people capitulating to certain rules, whether it's the masking, the vaccine passports. If enough people don't do it in certain areas, like, it's over. But it's all good. Someone said Sweden never shut down. I think maybe for a little in December they did or something, but yeah, for the most part, no shutdown, better numbers. And I'm not trying to act like a know-it-all, but I told people this in April of last year. I don't want to be the only person. I'm not acting like I'm so great. Seriously, I wish there were 1,000 people I saw doing this, but very few people were saying the truth about Sweden last year. All my favorite conservatives were lying and saying Sweden was going to die and everybody was getting killed because they didn't lock down. And I was showing people the data last April. So Sweden didn't lock down, at least not nearly as long as anyone else. Thank you, James, for the super chat. And our own idols and our own heroes were willing to lie to us at that time. Maybe they made a mistake, but I don't know. It's like, to me, and maybe this is not good. Maybe this is better for people. I can't tell if this is good or bad, because in some ways I like it. In other ways, it can be draining on myself. But I'm amped up right now, even though I don't feel great. My throat's a little sore. I'm amped up because this is like crunch time for America. As I'm not even scared. I'm more like excited. And I'm not excited like, oh, this is so great. But like, I don't know. I don't have it. Like, I'm the type of player, if I'm down 30 in the fourth quarter, I was never a giver upper. Like, people will be like, the game's over. I'm like, it's not over till it's over. If there's a mathematical chance I could win a sports game, I'm not giving up. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm crazy, but that's just my mentality. I love to play. I love to win. And I don't give up. I'm a hustler. So I don't know. I'm amped up because I feel like this is crunch time for humanity. I feel like this is crunch time for America. I think we have it bad now. We have about 10, 15 years, and certain things are going to change. Demographics, politics, vaccine laws. There's going to be way bigger changes than people think in the next 10 years. And if this is any sign of the 2020s, 2020, 2021, it's going to get a whole heck of a lot crazier with authoritarianism. I don't feel like I could just sit on the couch, and maybe that's a good or bad thing. Like, I don't feel like I could just sit here and everything's going to be fine. Like, I have the feeling that if nothing changes, I'm going to get my ass beat when I'm 65, and I'm going to have to be like an Asian elder in the middle of like San Francisco or New York City where it's not safe anymore. Like, I know, and I don't mean to take it out on boomers, because I know most of my following on Facebook are boomers, and I know I have millennials. I love everybody, but it really rubs me the wrong way. I don't mean to be rude, but I have to live on this earth, hopefully, for the next 40, 50, 60 years. And I don't think a lot of people that are 50, 60, 70 understand how crazy it's going to get with the rules and with certain changes and stuff. A lot of places are going to be as bad as Chicago and LA at this rate, and people don't fully understand it. So I have to live through that. And, I'm doing my best to make this be like a golden era of Renaissance and not like a breakdown, communist civilization where I get my ass beat like an Asian elder in New York City. So I take it seriously. I'm like, I don't got that much time, and I don't have the 401k opportunity to just sit and watch Wheel of Fortune and, understand, well, I lived a good life. Like, I lived a great life so far, but it's not going to be that way in 10 years. So when boomers come along and tell me like, Anomaly, stop doing this, I take extra offense to it, because it's like, not only are you not willing to go the distance to do what I'm doing, but you're trying to stop me. Like, I'm going to have to live on this earth for hopefully 40, 50 more years. And it's not going to be the same earth that you're allowed to live on right now. You think this is bad? It's going to get worse at this rate. Someone said this boomer agrees. A lot of people do. And a lot of millennials are stupid, and a lot of Gen Z are stupid. It's not like boomers are terrible and everyone else is great, but something irks me extra much when someone who's 20 years older than me tries to just shut me up and stop me from like actually doing something, while they're totally complacent with the downfall of America, where it's like, I'm not blaming it solely on one person, but it's like, I see that you don't get it, and that's fine, but I do get it. So the least you can do is not try to stop me, because I'm not stopping anyway. But it's like next level kind of bizarre when it's like, no. And I'm like, it's going to get crazy. But the good news is it doesn't have to, it really doesn't. And like I said, I really don't care. People think maybe this is an act or something. It's not an act. Like, I'm not afraid. I'm not going to say it all, but like very little. I'm ready to do what I have to do. Seriously. Like, I'm living a great life now. I've been very privileged, and it comes from hard work. So I've worked my ass off to get where I'm at. But if I lose it all in a month, I hope not. I'm seriously mentally prepared for that. I don't want to lose anything. I hope that I could just be successful and peaceful and live in society forever. But if they come crazy with the vaccine passports and communist stuff, I'm mentally prepared to do what I have to do. And if that's not enough, I literally don't even care. I'm at peace with it. So maybe that's why I'm so aggressive and so focused, because I'm not afraid, like, at all. I'm not. Because I see I'm not living in New York City. Are you kidding me? I'm not putting a vaccine passport to sit at a restaurant. So I guess I can't go to New York City. I guess I can't go to Los Angeles. My map is shrinking. I'm great where I'm at right now, but it's like, I'm not allowing this to happen in my neighborhood. And that's kind of the energy I have on here. And maybe I push back too hard against people, but I have this same energy when I'm at restaurants and stuff, because it's like, I'm watching what's happening in New York City. I don't want my community to be like New York City. So if somebody's trying to bring that there, I'm trying to Goku them out of the way. Like, you go to New York City and be a communist. I don't want this here. And that's just how I feel. So I've been a calm person, and people will say I've changed, but it's like, it's a new world. And, the walls are definitely shrinking on what you can and can't do. And I don't see that as a fear thing. I let it motivate me to be even stronger and faster. And it could come off the wrong way, but it's like, I don't think that, not to be mean or anything, but I don't think like following Charlie Kirk and meme accounts is gonna really move the needle on what the conservatives need to do. And that's why I go at Trump a lot, because Trump is the biggest figure in the conservative movement. He's the biggest figure in the world. And seriously, his leadership's like I would, with that last interview, I'm not trying to be rude, I would drop him. I wouldn't even put him as a top 50 conservative. Like, I'm not even kidding. There's people that I don't even like. I would vote for Charlie Kirk before I voted for Donald Trump. And I don't even really like Charlie Kirk. I'd vote for literally half of Fox News before. Like, Donald Trump is so bad at medical tyranny, and he's so bad at standing up against vaccine passports. He's not even like a top 100 Republican in my head. He's the number one Republican in the world, but on the most important issue, which is going to decide whether we live in communism or freedom, Donald Trump is not even a top 100 voice on that topic. So I can't leave it alone, because it's like, he's number one in your hearts, but he's like number 189 on the scoreboards. You could name a random conservative you watch on television or a random conservative you follow on social media, and I would probably vote for that person. If it came down to Ben Shapiro or Donald Trump, I can't stand Ben Shapiro. I don't trust him at all. I know people are going to get mad at that, but I really don't. It's debatable whether I'd vote for Donald Trump or Ben Shapiro. That's how bad Donald Trump is in my head. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, I can't act like this isn't happening. Like, he's this godlike figure in everyone's head. He's got 500 million people running circles around him, and he's on the scoreboard. He's like in last place in the most important issue. Someone said Candace Owens. I literally name a conservative, and I'll tell you if I'd vote for them over Donald Trump. I would absolutely vote for Candace Owens over Donald Trump. Does it mean I know what she would do? I have no idea, but she's great on medical tyranny. And to be honest, I've dealt with Candace and had back and forth disagreements and stuff. She's handled it realer than anybody. She could definitely be a little feisty and stuff, but I actually appreciate, like, any kind of disagreement that we had in the past, how she handled it very quickly, very real. And, she's always had my back in certain ways and reached out at certain times. So regardless of the medical tyranny stuff, I would be willing to give her a go and see what she could do. And anybody, Greg Gutfeld, I can't stand Greg Gutfeld. I don't know. No, I'd vote for Donald Trump over Greg Gutfeld. I don't want to seem like a hater, but I just don't like that guy that much. Jesse Waters, probably. Trump's, if their stance was like, I will not do mandates and stuff, I'd be like, okay, I'll vote for them. I sound like such a hater. I really don't want to be, but Bernie, no, I would not. I'd vote for Trump over Bernie. Bernie sucks. Someone said Shapiro's tied to the media conglomerate. I'm just trying to make a point of how little I trust Trump at this point. I'll play the clip again, but to me, Candace is a top 5 conservative right now. Easy. You can say what you want. I know people are going to cry about it. Candace is outspoken about medical tyranny. Candace has been going the hardest. She has a big audience. She gets it. Like, she knows how serious this is. Trump doesn't get it. I don't know what to tell you. Candace gets it. Say what you want. She gets it. She gets it. She's on it. She's on the mask thing. And she's a fighter. I mean, she's got that element to her where, like, you wouldn't want to piss her off, where, like, I would be willing to just throw her in it. I would vote for her absolutely over Trump. She's risen there's certain people who've taken this seriously. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out all the time and says this isn't FDA approved. That's something. I'm looking for something. That's something. She works out and does pull-ups. I like that too. But yeah, I don't know. To me, Trump has fallen so low because of his like weakness. How could you? I mean, I know people are going to rationalize it. It's sad because I like this guy. It's like, I like Trump. I want to sit here. I want to have a Trump poster on the wall. I want to have a Trump teddy bear like everyone else. I'm looking to this guy like, bro, I'm waiting for you to be the guy you claim to be. And he gets on TV and she says vaccine passports. and he sells the vaccine for 2 minutes and doesn't even talk about the passports. He actually talks for the passport. He says there would be no protesters if I was president. Everyone would take the vaccine. He kind of sucks. He's kind of like the worst one. I would vote for freaking Matt Walsh before I voted for Trump. I would vote for Rand Paul, DeSantis. I mean, you name a Republican besides like Mitt Romney and those weirdos. Trump is serious. Someone said Marjorie Taylor Greene's crazy. Yeah, that's fine. At least I'll identify that she's crazy. I like something about how crazy she is. Something about that's fun. As long as you don't idolize her, like Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to save my life. She's crazy, whatever, throw her in there. Sometimes you need to get crazy. Trump's crazy. Candace could be a little crazy. I could be a little crazy. Sometimes you need a little crazy. You know, it's just, I can't have a leader that doesn't talk about the vaccine passports. Trump's got to wake up. I don't know what to tell people. It's just like, I want a Trump. I want a little Trump doll. You know, I have a Trump pen. You press it. He says, build a wall, make America great. I have a Trump pen. Okay. I have Trump ice cubes. I don't use my ice cubes anymore because Trump's face is on it, and I don't even want to use my ice cubes anymore. It's personal. And sometimes I need ice cubes to make a smoothie, and sometimes my drink is warm and I want it to be cold, and I don't even use the ice cubes anymore because Trump's face is on it. I want to use my Trump ice cubes again. Trump's got to snap out of it. Can I debate some leftists like Kyle Kulinski on vaccines and medical tyranny, please? I would love to debate Kyle Kulinski. I would love to talk to Jimmy Dore. I think me and Jimmy Dore would get along really great. I would debate Kyle Kulinski, but I don't know if he wants to debate me. I think that would be great. But I don't know. You could ask him. I'm down. Someone said I like Candace Marjorie. Like even DeSantis, like I can't. I'm trying to be nice, but like, okay, DeSantis, take all his worst qualities, right? Okay, he's doing this. I've mentioned things I don't like that DeSantis is doing. When he's like in an interview, they're like vaccine passports. What does DeSantis say? No vaccine passports. We won't do that in Florida. That's like a normal leader. Is DeSantis a politician? Yes. Did he learn a lot from Trump with his movements? Yes. But like he can actually talk. I'm not trying to be mean, but Trump is starting to be like Biden, like where he can't even talk. They asked DeSantis, what do you think of vaccine passports? I firmly disagree with them. It's disgusting. You ask Trump about vaccine passports, he doesn't even talk about the passports. He's like Grandpa Moderna selling the vaccine, saying he saved 100 million lives, saying people don't want the vaccine because of Joe Biden. Like he doesn't make sense anymore. I don't even trust Ron DeSantis, but I would vote for him before Trump. Like Ron DeSantis speaks in full sentences and doesn't like make shit up like randomly. Like, I mean, he does actually make some shit up, but I don't know. Trump's response was seriously delusional. People could act like that's normal or that's fine. You know how I felt over the last couple of months. I'm blown away by how bad that was. I listened to that and I'm like, what is this guy doing? Go down a line. Me, Shapiro, like I'll do. Okay. Me, what do you think about vaccine passports? I'll tell you. Ron DeSantis, what do you think about vaccine passports? He'll tell you. Candace Owens, what do you think about vaccine passports? She'll say she's firmly against it. Matt Walsh, what do you think about, you go to Ben Shapiro, he'd be like, well, technically, he's like, my wife's a doctor, so I love vaccines. He's like, listen, I'm not going to stick it in your arm, but like, if you can't eat in New York City without a vaccine, let's just say I would be okay. Like Trump would give you that. I mean, Shapiro would give you this like little answer, but like literally everyone else would give you like a, no, I don't agree with that. Trump, he had the perfect opportunity to literally just say, yeah, vaccine passport. He used to live in New York City. What's he doing? He has property there. What is he doing? It's like, dude, what do you think about vaccine passports? You have a freaking business there, Donald Trump. You have a restaurant in your freaking hotel. She asked you about the vaccine passport, dude. He doesn't even answer. Dude, he's like a total weirdo now. People not listen to that earlier? I know people might have just joined, but it's like he's on like his own level. I mean, he's dropped in my head to like, I'm like, who is this guy? How are you going to answer the most important question and not even answer the question and side against the protesters? He's like Boris Johnson, Rob Ford, Scott Morrison level. He's really that bad. He's getting to be like these other politician conservatives from these other countries that told you how cool and conservative they were and then sent you to the wolves. Like, I'm willing to, you think I have these high standards. If Donald Trump ever gets his act together, I'll give him credit for getting his act together. I'm not like a psycho hater. It's just, I mean, I don't want to listen to it again, but some people might have not been here. Let's listen to it again because, I mean, I can't get over how bad his answer was. You could put a line of 1,000 Republicans, and Donald Trump's answer would literally be the worst answer out of any Republican, with the exception of Ben Shapiro, who would probably talk in circles for 4 minutes and say he was for the vaccine passport. Listen to this answer. I got to walk away and get some water. Tell me a Republican who would answer this worse than this. I seriously can't think of one.
If we're going to be living in fear until the midterm elections so that mail-in ballots can be the standard, I want to get your take on needing proof to go into restaurants, needing proof of a vaccine to go into certain stores. Your thoughts on where we are with these new mask mandates coming back. And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend a third shot for the fully vaccinated. So would you get a booster shot?
All right. Tell me a Republican who would answer that question worse than this.
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it. And we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking. And he's now president, and he's doing a lousy job with coronavirus. Coronavirus is back. If that ever happened to me where it came back, okay, when I left, it was virtually gone. It was over. It was a past. Now it's coming back through the Delta, and I don't know if you even want to call it that. All you call it is the China virus is back. And so why is he doing a good job? He did a bad job with SARS, the H1N1, very bad job, a joke of a job, a horrible job. All of a sudden they said, oh, he's doing so well. I'm the one that did well. I'm the one that got all the equipment. I'm the one that got the vaccine. I'm the one that did well. If it came back, can you imagine if I were president and it came back at a level where it's just as bad right now, in some cases? The press would decimate me.
All right. You can listen, all these stupid Q accounts could say I'm controlled out, whatever. Line up 1,000 conservatives, 1,000 of the top conservative influencers. Not a single one of them, besides maybe Ben Shapiro, would have given a worse answer than that. That's the worst answer I've ever heard. That's like Biden level parody. Hey, Trump, what do you think of vaccine passports? Hey, Trump, what do you think of the booster shot? Hey, Trump, what do you think of the mask mandates and the fear? Well, speaking of the vaccine mandate, I have the vaccine. I love the vaccine. I'm proud of the vaccine. I think I saved 100 million lives. The Spanish flu. I think that's what I think. It's really good. And Biden with the vaccine, people don't want to get the vaccine because of Joe Biden. That's why people don't want the vaccine, because Joe Biden's in office. If I was in president, millions of people were getting in line for the vaccine. There would be no protesters. And, Biden, the China virus. He's like, it's the China virus. I'm just going to call it the China virus. Okay. And, SARS and MERS and, Obama didn't handle that really well. And, the vaccine is really, really, fast. It's like, seriously, he's like beyond Derek Zoolander. That was the stupidest thing I've literally ever heard, ever. You can't convince me that any top conservative would have given a shittier answer than you guys love this guy because he's hilarious, but like, I'm not even joking. That's the worst answer. You could take 1,000 of the top influencers. You could take the dumbest people at every single major outlet. And I'm not saying they're dumb. There's a lot of smart people there, you know, but you could take everybody. You could take the worst employees. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm just saying not the best, the worst. Take the worst people at PragerU, the worst people at Blaze TV, the worst people at Turning Point USA, the worst people at Fox News, put them in a line and ask them what they think about vaccine passports. And literally every single person would have a better answer than that. I'm not even kidding. That's how bad that answer is. The only one that could possibly have a worse answer than that would be Ben Shapiro. He'd be like, listen. He's like, I don't like to talk about anti-Semitism. It's a really serious subject. But before we talk about anti-Semitism, he's like, nothing lets me sleep easier than my sheets. Okay, sometimes there's anti-Semites and, you know, it makes me want to not go to bed. But then my Boll & Branch sheets make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel like I'm in a really inclusive environment. And my wife's a doctor. And she's told me that their brains are screwed up with the anti-Semitism. And I don't want to talk about World War II because a lot of people died. But speaking of died, I will sell health insurance as well and death insurance. So you need life insurance, death insurance. You're going to die. And before you die, you want to have gold. More gold, the better. Promo code Ben Shapiro for the sheets. Promo code Shapiro for the gold. Promo code Shapiro for the life insurance. Okay, back to the vaccine passports. A very, very serious topic. Some libertarians would even say that it's okay for a vaccine passport because there are some things that are not absolute. And, you know, if your kid is coughing and my kid, who's going to be a doctor one day, you know, doesn't want to get sick from your sick kid who didn't get the vaccine. So I would say, well, I will not let the government force a needle into your arm because I'm not a sicko weirdo. I would be okay with your kid not playing next to my kid because my kid has a doctor for a mom and a sheet salesman for a dad. So if your kid's sick with the COVID because he didn't get the flu shot, I don't think he should be in the same facility. So technically, I agree with you, but I disagree with you. We disagree to agree. We agree to disagree. I'm on the same side as you. I agree authoritarian is bad. I just agree with it. That would be Ben Shapiro's answer. The only person that could possibly give a worse answer. I can't, like, I'm not even trying to be mean, but like, I know people get mad. I know people get mad at these live streams. Like, Anomaly just hates Trump. He's a plant. You don't have to plant me here to say that vaccine passport answer was literally, you could take the dumbest people from PragerU, the dumbest people from Turning Point USA. Seriously, the intern that has an IQ of like 15 that just wants to be like Charlie Kirk one day, but his face is too big. He needs a smaller one. You could take the dumbest people at all of these freaking things. Fox News. You could take the intern that couldn't even make it because like he couldn't carry Donna Brazil's bags or something because he was too lazy. Line them up in a wall and ask them about the vaccine passport. And literally all of them will have a better answer. Like Donald Trump's answer, you almost have to try to be that bad. You couldn't even write that on an SNL skit. That's how bad that was. You could act like that's a planned thing to say. Listen to the freaking guy talk. You're lying to yourself. Would you say that? This is the funny thing. Well, Emily, what would you say? Well, I'll tell you what I'd say. Nobody that's making excuses for that would ever say that. All these people who are mad at me, I'm a plant. Okay, let me know what you would say if I said, what do you think of vaccine passports? You would say, I don't agree with vaccine passports. They're super corrupt or fascist or authoritarian, whatever. You wouldn't say what Trump said. No one would say that. Literally no one would say that. It's not even possible to make a response that bad. It's actually really funny. Like, I know we shouldn't do this, but I want to listen to it again because it seriously is that funny.
If we're going to be living in fear until the midterm elections.
All right, think of this like an SNL skit. She's like, humanity's facing vaccine passports, lockdowns, mask mandates, medical tyranny. And this is the first time Donald Trump has ever directly been asked about vaccine passports. And this is his answer. You've got to be out of your mind if you think I'm a plant for thinking this is terrible. How can you would never say this? You would never say what he's about to say. Nobody ever would ever say this.
To be the standard.
It's so bad.
Take on needing proof to go into restaurants, needing proof of the vaccine to go into certain stores. Your thoughts on where we are with these new mask mandates coming back And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend.
You ready for the best answer ever?
Vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it. And we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking. And he's now president. And he's doing a lousy job with coronavirus. Coronavirus is back. If that ever happened to me where it came back, okay, when I left, it was virtually gone. It was over. It was a past. Now it's coming back through the Delta, and I don't know if you even want to call it that. All you call it is the China virus is back. And so why is he doing a good job? He did a bad job with SARS, the H1N1, very bad job. Joke of a job, a horrible job. All of a sudden they said, oh, he's doing so well. I'm the one that did well. I'm the one that got all the equipment. I'm the one that got the vaccine. I'm the one that did well. If it came back, can you imagine if I were president and it came back at a level where it's just as bad right now in some cases? The press would decimate me.
If anybody just joined, the question was not a vaccine sell. They didn't ask Donald Trump, can you sell the vaccine and tell us how bad Biden is? They literally asked, what do you think of booster shots, vaccine passports, and mask mandates? That was the worst answer possible. It's beyond WWE. Oh, I'm going to call it the China virus. And then his fans are going to be, oh, the China virus. Oh, the China virus. We're fighting China. That was so bad. He literally sided against protesters. He didn't say people are protesting the vaccine passport because vaccine passports are insane. He said there's protesters because Biden's in office. If I was in office, there would be no protesters because people don't trust the vaccine because of Joe Biden. If I were in office, they'd trust the vaccine. Is that what's going on, Donald Trump? Does anybody believe that that's what's going on? It's seriously unbelievable. It's wild. Oh my God. And no one would say that. Anyway. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I got to go. I've been here way too long. What time is it even? Jeez. I haven't even eaten dinner. Someone said, where's that clip? Post that clip. I posted it. I posted the raw clip on Telegram. My Telegram is t.me/dreamrarechat. That's t.me/dreamrarechat on Telegram. Dream Rare Chat. You can search for Anomaly Dream Rare Chat. So Telegram, Dream Rare Chat. It's on Telegram. You could copy and paste it, post on social media, whatever you want to do. It's on my Twitter, twitter.com/legendary energy. I was mad when I saw it. Now I'm in a better mood, but I think I said a nasty caption because I was like, what the hell did I just listen to? That's insane. But yeah, check it out. And seriously, at a certain point, people are going to have to face this because seriously, if I sat in a room with every influencer that's mad at me, every single one, literally every single one, let's get 10,000 conservative influencers from the smartest ones to the idiots who just copy and paste other people's memes. And I said, what do you think of this clip? They'd probably lie about it and be like, oh, it's not that bad. And I'm like, would you? And then I'd ask, no one would give an answer that was that bad. There's no reason to have a leader that is worse than literally everyone that follows him. At that point, it would be like, I don't even want to make a bad example. You guys get it. All right. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Recall in California. Recall Gavin Newsom. Make sure you vote yes. People are talking about funny business with the ballots. I don't know much about it. I haven't got mine yet, but I will be voting yes on the ballot. I don't know who I'm going to vote for, to be honest, real quick. I think Larry Elder's a front runner. Kevin Kiley has a good shot. The Kevin Paffrath kid has a good shot. A lot of people, a lot of my friends like Anthony Trimino, I've interviewed him. He seems like a great guy. I mean, I could be wrong. I just don't see this guy getting over like 5%. And I might be wrong, but I don't see it happening. It's like when I voted for Jill Stein. It felt good or something, but it didn't really matter that much. But I could be wrong. Don't listen to me. Maybe that's your guy and you love him and I'm terrible, whatever. I'm going between in my head Larry Elder and Kevin Kiley. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of leaning toward Kevin Kiley. And the reason is I followed him for a while and he kind of launched the recall. I think he's got a decent shot, but it was him that launched the recall. You know, everyone else kind of hopped on it. I'm running for governor, which is cool. Everyone could run for governor, but I feel like Kevin Kiley was a driving force behind the recall even happening. He seems pretty legit. Larry Elder's not. He doesn't really. I don't know. The more I listen to him talk, the less I want to. And I know Larry Elder's really popular, but something's telling me to vote for Kevin Kiley. I don't know if I'm going to, but the reason being he's an assemblyman. He has some experience. He's Republican, and he was the reason Gavin Newsom got recalled. So Larry Elder, Trimino, all of them, I don't know that they would have been able to run if Kevin Kiley wasn't such a driving force behind the lockdowns. But I know Trimino's a cool guy. I know Larry Elder's popular and stuff, but that's just where my head's at right now. I'm willing to change and listen, but I think there's a pretty good chance for the recall. The important part is voting yes. Appreciate you guys. I'll be back soon. Thanks for hanging out. And I'm going to post a smaller link to that video on Instagram or something, and it's on my Telegram. Let people know. I'm not trying to be mean. I try to be funny and stuff, but I don't know. Like how long as a movement are we going to just pretend like that's like normal? It's very bizarre. Someone said, holy S, he answered my question. I try to answer a lot of people's questions, but sometimes I got tunnel vision. God bless you, Seth. Have a good night. All right. See you guys.